statistics.
Yes.
We'll see if it's true or not. 800 people attempt to hike Everest every year. Only 50% make it. 5 to 20 people die in the pursuit. And you just hiked Everest, summited it, but you also almost fell off the mountain, or you did fall off the mountain. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So summited on May 21st, which statistically is the most common day to summit
Wow.
in history. Yeah. Since 1953, Tenzing, Norway, and Sir Edmund Hillary summited the first time, as
Whoa.
they say. And since then, May 21st has been. And so I summited on the 21st when I did a backflip at the top. And so,
As
it
one
looked like I
does.
almost fell off, but I didn't. I was clipped in, so that's good. And then I started descending down.
Wait, so wait a second. You get
Yeah,
to
go
the
ahead.
top of Everest,
Yep.
which takes you how many days?
47.
Wait, it takes you 47 days?
Yeah.
Holy hell.
I know.
Okay,
It's
so
wild. I got homesick. Nina, my girlfriend, came with me to base camp, which was a great 2-week experience. And then after that, yeah, you acclimate. You go up and down through the Kumbo ice fall. Try to just acclimate and get used to kind of what's out there. And
But when you're at the top after 47 days of hikes, and my understanding is you have to push really hard for the summit because
Yep.
there's like a window.
sometimes never a window.
Right.
Yeah, we got lucky. I mean, there was a open, clear bluebird day, and that's where you see everyone trying to, attempting. Everyone's trying to gauge what time to leave, what day, because 5, 10, 20 mile per hour winds, really 20 you're done, but 5, 10 mile an hour changes the temperature drastically. So it can go from 0 degrees or -10 degrees to -50 quick. And if you're up there when that happens, it's tough to get back down.
It's not good.
There's no helicopters after Camp 2. Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3, Camp 4, summit. After Camp 2, it's no man's land. It's a free for all.
Yeah.
And you're not just worried about the weather, you're also worried about your health, you're worried about your gear, you're worried about, your guide, your Sherpa, you're worried about yourself, your mental state, you're worried about the Nepalese. Look, some are super nice and some are a little sketchy. There is, known cases where they'll cut your lines and, push you off. And that's not just Nepalese, that can be foreigners as well, but it's a free for all. And
Why?
and who's gonna catch you, at 25,000 feet pushing or cutting someone off? So, look, I don't know most of these people, and I just don't. I wasn't trying to trust anyone that close. God forbid something happened. So, I think there's a lot of things going through your brain while you're up there. But after I summited, I was descending down, and I must have been at 28 and a half, 28,000 feet where the Hillary step is. I went over it and, 20 minutes later, the whole thing collapsed and people fell off. They fell thousands of feet down and dead. So, yeah, they're still out there. Unfortunately, God bless them and their families. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
So you're not
I would
only
never go back.
battling the mountain, you're battling humans.
Yeah, humans, the mountain, health, yourself, gear, your oxygen, weather, God, the Himalayas. There's so many factors. It's not just, I've climbed a couple 14ers in Colorado, I can go do Everest. That's not what it is.
Not the same thing.
Yeah.
And obviously I've hiked one mountain ever, Mount Baker, and that was like scary enough for me. And but I remember when we were talking in the sauna, you were explaining how like there's portions of the mountain where they're almost vertical. Well, they are vertical, I'm sure.
Yep.
And you have to be careful that other people aren't sort of falling down on you. And you have to
rubble.
or rubble or whatever.
Rocks.
And there was a story you were kind of telling me about somebody who wasn't clipped in.
Yes. Yeah. So that was from Camp 2 to Camp 3, say about 22,000 feet up. There was a storm that came up. I was making my push to summit at the time. So I was going up. And once the storm came in, you have to make a decision to come down and redo that hike all again the next day or at all, or just keep going. And there was no weather patterns that extreme in the forecast. And so, I said to Jen and Dr. John, I was like, let's keep going. And, they questioned it for a sec, but, they kind of agreed. They're like, yeah, we think this is going to pass as well. So I kept going up. We kept going up and we're on this ledge. And, it's about, 1,000-foot drop below you. You're standing on, a couple inches, of snow. And now those people are coming at you and you have to make your way around them. So you have to clip in one side, clip in the other, go around them, unclip one side, and you have to do that to every person. And one of the girls that was coming down, I didn't know it was a girl at the time. It was two people coming towards me on this, this couple inches on this ledge. She was clipped to her Sherpa, and the Sherpa goes to clip around me, and he didn't clip, and she happened to fall. But they were clipped together, and so she pulled the guy right in front of me. So they both fell. And instincts, I just grabbed the rope, and they were just dangling there. And I think, obviously if I didn't grab that, they wouldn't be with us anymore, but they stuck their feet in and, pulled themselves up. And I remember the girl I saw her hair, and she just looks at me, and she's like, thank you. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this is crazy right now. And 10 seconds later, I fell. And I remember I fell, I was clipped in, and I fell, 4 feet. But those seconds, I was just like, shit. I said, shit. I was like, shit. And it caught me, and I was just dangling there. And all I was thinking about was, really, Devin, shit was going to be your last word? Like, that's what you were going to say? The last things you say on earth was shit?
Profound.
And so I'll always remember that. That was scary. My heart dropped. I pulled myself up. But, I mean, it's just scary up there. You don't know the weather. You don't know the people. Everyone's from all over the world. Some people are out there for certain, intentions. Some people are out there for others. And you just don't know. It's a total no man's land out there. And you're just so tired and exhausted and homesick, and it's just crazy. I would never go back. It's not really my jam. I also, I don't want to, put this category out there, but a lot of people that are on the mountains, a lot of men and women that I met are single. I'm a family guy. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I love being around my community. There's a lot of lone wolves out there that are just out there, and which is fine, but conversation is just a lot different with them versus, some of my best friends who have, 3 kids, a wife, and, we have different values in conversation. So, I'm not saying I'm not about the mountaineering community, but there's definitely a lot of lone wolves when you start to go to these, more profound mountains and high altitude places.
Oh, I could only imagine. I remember we kind of got right when COVID had hit and was done, actually. So quarantine was over, whatever. Our guide was an Everest guide, but he hadn't hiked or climbed or whatever the appropriate term is for all of COVID because they were shut down. And he lived right outside Mount Baker, which is where we're going. So he ended up being our guide, but he was this hard ass, right? He's with like 7 chicks like me. We're like, like no fucking idea what we're doing. Never done a mountain, shoes breaking. We're a total nightmare. This guy must have hated his life. But it was really interesting talking to him because he was exactly that. Like he was one like, God, Mount Baker's for pussies. He's like, what are we doing here? He's like, well, why are we even here? And then number 2, I asked him, I'm like, God, how often are you gone? Why do you keep doing this? What drives you? And he was just a very different human. He had like a singular, almost addiction to that climb somehow.
Which is cool. I also put those people in the same category of humans that are in the rat race on Wall Street. It's the same thing. It's just a different industry. You're still trying to climb the biggest mountain and do it the fastest and be out there. And, it's the guys and girls you see on Wall Street that want the bigger deal, want to invest more, want to make more money, want the car. It's the same rat race. And I just don't see that as freedom. Even if you're out in the middle of the mountain by yourself, you still have this mindset of more. Business, more, mountain, more. Like when you're in that, you can't get out of this. You can never be calm. You can never find true calmness if you're always wanting more. And so I think, I noticed that with some people out there as well. Like, man, this isn't calming. I came out here to be calm. I came out here to calm my mind. And
why did you decide to hike Everest?
I've always wanted to do it since I was a kid. I want to see what it feels like to stand at the top of the world. I wanted to, to see what my body's capable of. I enjoy learning the different gear and, meeting the different cultures and food. I wouldn't recommend Nepalese food, but see, I dropped out of college. I used these different high altitude mountains and embedded myself in these cultures as my school. Like this is my learning experience. So, I've had some of the craziest conversations, in Antarctica on Vincent or, on Aconcagua, with, this random, business guy who started this, drink, in Mexico and is now selling it in 7,000 stores. And I'm just like, wow, like I would have never learned this in college, and how is he doing it versus the US? And then I meet this one European who did the same thing, but in Europe. So like it opened your brain into kind of what's out there. So one, learning, curiosity is big for me. Two, just what is my body capable of? And then three is, I speak about this a lot, but Marcus Aurelius has an amazing quote: the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to real strength. And so I want to try things and do things to help calm my brain as much as possible and find calmness, being able to, focus on one thing at a time and being able to turn this guy off when I need to. It's stressful, and I think we grow old fast if this thing is constantly racing. So being able to, add in some calmness and no phone and no society and no parents telling you what to do and no boss or no one. You're just on a mountain. You're worried about yourself and that other person. You're not worried about likes or views on Instagram. You're not worried about how much money's in your account. You're not worried about that next big business venture and, if it's delayed or not. You're just worried about staying freaking alive. And it comes back to the simplicity of life. And so that's what I gain on these mountains, is just like simplicity.
Here's a question for you. How much of your life do you actually control? And you got to be honest with yourself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That was Marcus Aurelius. And it's as true now as it was 2,000 years ago. So are you in control of your life, or is it controlling you? Wealth doesn't come from sitting out and sticking to the safety net of your comfort zone. It's built by acquiring equity or owning something, your time, your choices, your assets. The richest people in the world, they know this. The wealthiest demographic of the US right now, ages 55 to 59, understand this concept, and they own the most businesses. That's why this February, I'm hosting a 3-day virtual event that's unlike anything we've ever done before. It's your crash course in taking ownership, from finding the right businesses and spotting opportunities to negotiating deals and securing financing. We're not just talking theory, we're giving you actionable real-world coaching to help you build lasting wealth. This isn't just an event. It's a movement, what we call Owner Nation. If this is interesting to you and you want to acquire businesses, acquire more businesses, or grow your wealth, then I think you should be here. You should go to codiesanchez.com/MSM. There'll be all the information for you. Did you start doing these crazy adventures before you had some money and freedom?
Yes. Yeah, I would say the first big one was the bear crawl. I wanted to see,
So you didn't have any cash. What were you doing for a living at the time?
I had a training business.
So you were in fitness?
Yep, fitness.
And you were probably not making what you wanted to make? Or just
I was
normal?
happy. I mean,
Yeah.
I was living I was making
How
what
old
I
were
needed.
you?
20, it was in 2020, so 5 years ago.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm 32, so 27.
God, you've lived a lot in the
last 5 years,
last 5 years.
I've done a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And before that, you were just quote unquote kind of normal. You hadn't done these crazy adventures.
No, I was running nightclubs in New York City.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a wild progression.
Yeah.
So
And
what?
before that, I was hanging drywall. I was doing construction.
Interesting.
Yep.
So how did you go from hanging construction to having a bunch of businesses, climbing Everest,
Yeah.
bear crawling marathons?
Curiosity. I'm just really curious and try to just do my absolute best in every single thing I do, whether I'm pouring you some D-bloat, whether I'm making you a coffee, whether I'm on this podcast or, going to work out in the gym this morning. Like I want to do my best every possibility I get.
Mm-hmm.
And so any opportunities I've had, I think I just give it 110% no matter what. But, I grew up in a blue collar household, and my dad hung drywall. And then when he passed, I got sent to military academy, got a scholarship to play football and baseball in college, and then dropped out. And I was like, this isn't for me. I started bartending, bar backing, trying to make some money in the hospitality world, and just gave it. I was the best freaking bar back in the world. I was a bartender's best friend. I will make your job as easy as possible. And I told myself, I'm like, look, bar back is, dishwashing and bar back is one of the lowest positions in hospitality, but I'm going to be the best freaking one out there, And then the restaurant owner saw that. He's like, do you want to bartend? I'm like, yes. And then all of a sudden they're like, do you want to manage the place? And I was like, yes. And then all of a sudden I had an opportunity to open my own spot. And so it's literally just giving it 110%, every time.
What would you tell a young Devin today listening to this who's like, man, I don't want to live a boring life. I want to adventure. I want to do incredible things, but I don't really have much. Maybe I'm doing drywall right now too.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
I would say break up with the girl or guy that you're with and go travel around the world and get into hospitality and work at different restaurants around the world, learn different languages, and just be a good, kind human. Be kind, work hard, and just learn and be a sponge. Don't be a know-it-all. Just take it. And in that time, figure out where do you want to be in 5 or 10 years, and then work backwards. Is it a ranch in the middle of Colorado with cows and a wife and kids and, your pickup truck and whatever it is? If that's what it is and that cost X amount of dollars, work backwards. How can you get there, right?
How did you make your first amount of cash?
How did I make my first amount of cash? I mean, I was training people in New York, and so I saved up some good money there, and then I built a training business and sold that. And that's kind of how I made my first million, and then I kind of
doing kind of a normal business.
Very normal, but I had clients.
Yeah.
And I had cash flow with that, and then we had this product, a meal prep, and someone recognize that and they needed those clients. So if you have something that someone needs, you can sell that.
Yeah.
Anything, if you want to drink some water and I have the glass, this is for sale.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think you have a glass.
I have a glass too.
So I don't know. I just think it's creating things you like to do. Because I think the passion and what you love is going to take you through the hard days, right? I used to love training people and making, people struggle and sweat and sometimes throw up and get back at it, puke and rally. Like I used to really enjoy and working out with them. I used to enjoy it. I still do sometimes I'll just train my boys for fun and have some fun, but I genuinely enjoyed it. So the days where a client said, hey, meet me at 4 a.m. I'm like, frick yeah, let's go. I'll show up. Let's get it done. Let's get after it. If you don't have that passion, then it's just not
hard to
it's
compete.
not worth it. Yeah. It's not, you're not going to compete against me. If I like to wake up at 4 a.m. and work out and you don't, but you want to start a training business, eventually I'm going to, surpass you. So
yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to beat obsession, I think.
it's almost impossible.
Yeah. They can beat intelligence,
right?
But it's super hard to beat somebody who's more obsessed than I am.
I agree with that.
One of the things I liked too, last we were chatting, is I was saying to you something like, oh, I'm going to do this work thing related. And you were like, yeah, I'm going to Aspen. I'm going skiing tomorrow or something, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you seem to go skiing or things like that a lot.
Yeah.
Why can you do that so often? How do you integrate so much adventure into your life?
Yeah.
Now people might say, well, you're successful. He has money. He can do that. But there's plenty of people who have more money than you or I that do not do that.
Yeah.
But it seems like you are set on not living a boring life.
Yeah. I put it first on the calendar. If I'm making my calendar throughout the day, I'm going to go mountain biking. I'm going to sauna cold plunge. I'm going to work out. And if I have time, I'll work in between. And it's very simple. And some people are like, you're crazy for doing that. I'm like, you're fucking crazy for not doing that. That is crazy to me that you're not doing the things that you like and you're not having fun. It blows my mind actually when people put work first and money first and like the things they think matter first. And then they're all like, man, I wish I went there. Man, I wish I was mountain biking more. Or I wish I went and travel. So go do it. Put that first. And everything else will follow. Okay, maybe your exit is, or your acquisition, you selling the company is delayed a couple of years, but you had fun. At least you had fun, and you put the fun first and the things you love first. People do it backwards.
You're right. We do. Actually, my husband always says there's 100% ROI on fun, which I think is not how my brain works.
Yeah.
But don't you ever worry about, what do you say to somebody who's like, but what if I do that and then I can't make enough money or I can't live?
You can make. I can make money selling freaking flowers, training people, going to get a job as a barista. There's a million ways in this world to make money. I could go pick up dirt, put it in a glass jar, holy sand on it and sell the sand. Like it's not that hard to make money. It's very simple to make money in this world, especially in the United States of America. It's the biggest brand on planet Earth, the USA, right? It's not hard, especially in the U.S. If you're not in the U.S., I see people make money in Tanzania, Africa, selling random cow hides on the side of the road. Like there's random things that people just do in this world to make money. It's not complicated. It's just do it or don't do it.
Yeah.
And people are afraid, well, that's too much. That's too small amount to make. That's not enough. Well, that's on you then. You know what I mean?
You got to start somewhere.
When I rode my bike across America with a guest you had, Jesse Itzler, it was interesting how many people lived in tents and how many people lived a simple life. And they chose to live the simple life. They chose not to have the bills. They chose not to have, the cars and the watches and the rent in New York City. They chose to live a simple life. We're the ones that put the stress on ourselves with the more stuff that we want, or the more things that we want to do, right? We put the stress on ourselves. If you want to live a simple life, you can get a tent. It's $100 on Amazon, if that, and go find somewhere on this earth, because the earth is big. Go live in a tent. You have a fire, you have shelter, you get food. That's it. It's very simple. And we add the stress.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I'd give you shit about that as a thought, except you've actually done it in a bunch of countries and in the U.S. So it's sort of interesting because you spent time in Africa. We were just talking about your drink that you gave me, and you've done this. You've sort of like camped all over the place. And
I've stayed in hostels. I've lived in tents. I've lived in mansions. I've lived in a lot of different types of places, and what I've come down to is simple, like simplicity. I try to clear my closet a couple times a year. I try to give away stuff. I try to have minimal amount of equipment in the kitchen. I try to have, just simple things. Try to wear the same shoes every day. Try to, similar shirts, similar pants, I mean, a couple of people are watching, they know what I wear. I wear like the same 5 things pretty much, and I try to. I try to live as simple as possible. And sometimes I get out of it a little bit. I have some fun, but I think it comes back to simplicity.
You partnered with Jesse on a couple of big things.
Yeah.
He, I imagine, gets a lot of people asking him to partner on stuff. How do you get somebody who is big and famous and maybe a billionaire to partner with you and to decide that you're the guy?
Well, one, we're friends first. We like to sauna. We like to cold plunge.
How'd you meet him first?
I met him. When I bear crawled the New York Marathon, he reached out, congratulated me. So that was like our first intro.
You did an interesting thing, and then an interesting human found you.
That's it. And then I went to his event, 29029. We hung out, had a crazy 36 hours. And then we kind of just stayed in touch. And he's like, hey, want to come to my house to sauna cold plunge? Yes. I have one rule. If Jesse asks you to do something, you do it. And so I went down. And then he's like, yo, that was fun. You want to go to the Hawks game? Cool. Done. Hey, you want to do this? Yeah. And I just kept saying yes. But each time I wasn't looking for anything. I was never like, Jesse's going to be my business partner. I never even thought about business with him. I was just like, this is a fun guy to hang out with. We have similar values: family, health, community, freedom of time, giving back. Those are my 5 main values I live by. And that's kind of what he lives by too. So we align on values. And we just, I don't know, there's no egos. We just like to have a good time, host people, sauna cold plunge. And I think we enjoy each other's company. And when he came to me about all day running, to be honest, I didn't even look at the paperwork. I know how much equity I own in the business, but like, besides that, I was like, I trust this guy, I saw it, DocuSign came in, I signed it. I'm like, let's launch this thing. It wasn't there's some people in the world that you just trust, it's like it's a good old handshake deal. And that's kind of how him and I roll. And there's no hidden agenda with us.
It's interesting because that was one of Warren Buffett's famous lines was, one, you can't do a good deal with a bad guy, and that a contract won't save you. And so I think there's actually a lot of wisdom in that. Now,
Yeah.
I am a crazy person and get very particular with contracts, but I think when you're young and you don't got much to lose, you
Yeah.
can really shoot yourself in the foot by putting all of these what ifs in there
Oh,
when
yeah.
there's not even a what to start with.
Yeah. And like all day running, we all started at zero. We started at zero sales. We started at zero followers. We started at no one coming to Running Man. We all started at zero. And then him and I had the agreement of, okay, let's build this to something. Him and I started at zero with All Day. Now, then we're building this together with the team and everyone. So I think everyone has to understand everyone starts at zero. It's not like, oh, it was just handed to you overnight. Everyone starts at zero followers. Everyone starts at zero views on the podcast. Then you're like, dang, I got my first 10 views, 20. I got my first million views. This is crazy, right?
That's
like
right.
we all
That's how
start
it
at
goes.
zero. And
Yeah.
so the what ifs are so unnecessary just in life. What if it doesn't? We're naturally thinking that, but we're all starting at zero. So just go. Just say yes.
Yeah. But now you have All Day Running Company, which is also, is that what owns like Running Man and the biggest sauna and all those things you have? What
Yep.
does that all encompass?
Yeah. All day running. We started with like 20 different concepts. We started with a calendar. We started with, daily workouts. We started with gear. We started with a monthly call. We started with run clubs, and we do that on purpose. Throw it at the wall. See what sticks. That didn't kind of work. That worked. That worked. That didn't work. This didn't work. Cool. Yes. No. Running Man was a festival. It came down to schedule. Jesse and I have limited time, so this allows us to do it once a year. It's a blank canvas for us. We can do whatever we want there. It's fun. It's what we like to do. And so, yeah, we launched Running Man 3 years ago. We're going on, this is our third one this year.
And explain what it is really quickly.
Running Man is a running festival in the health and wellness community where there's no first place, second place, or third place. You have 3 days. We put the timer on, and you can run as much as you want.
Whoa.
Some people sign up for 5K and end up doing 50 miles. And you can walk, run, crawl, do whatever you want. In between, you can stop. You have a tracker on. You could stop, go hit a sauna, grab a beer, listen to Mike Posner play, hit a goat yoga session. You can do whatever you want. It's just it's Burning Man without the drugs. And more running. That's all it is. It's a
cool
good
idea.
It's a 3-day festival in Georgia, and we just host it. We go down and literally just party for 3 days.
Yeah,
run
you guys invited me, and I was like, I hate running. I'm so nervous. This sounds awful.
No,
I have a
it's-
conflict, but I'm going to come next year. I told Jesse.
Last year I did 4 laps and then I had 30 beers. That was my running. That's what I did.
That's amazing.
That's what I did at Running Man last year.
It's kind of nice because with the new year and everything, you're thinking about goals, and it's like, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And sometimes I can get really prescriptive, but half the time it's just directional.
Right.
Like go someplace where more people are running, where you could be running more often, and you'll probably do some more, and then don't get that serious about the time or the specifics.
Yeah, don't get serious. Life's too short to be too serious.
Is that a motto of yours?
Yeah, look, there's some things where I'm like, what the frick? But a lot of times I'm like, Chinese farmer, right? It's you just got to kind of go with the flow.
What do you mean by that?
So my girlfriend showed me this clip, Chinese farmer. If you're listening, you should go watch it. It's 2 minutes maybe. And it's basically about this Chinese farmer that, he goes through all these obstacles in life, and each obstacle actually ended up being what it was supposed to be. It wasn't right and it wasn't wrong. It's just what it was supposed to be. And that's kind of the gist of it. Life is just what it's supposed to be. If we mess up on the podcast, that's just what it's supposed to be. If I say something out of line, if I say something good, that's just what it's supposed to be. And so it's not overthinking good or bad. It's just going and just kind of going with the flow.
What do you do when you make mistakes? Like, how do you get over a mistake? Is it that?
I just don't make them again. Yeah. I know what I did wrong or I messed up on. I will never make that mistake again. And it's embedded in my brain. I make it a point to the point where I'll tell people I made that mistake. Because with learning, if you read it, you speak it, you teach it, that's how you embed it. And so I like to tell people my problems, or not problems, my mistakes, I should say,
Interesting.
because then it's embedded. I will never, bring on these 10 influencers at X amount of dollars and launch them at this and do blah, 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 blah. I'll do it this way next time. And now I know forever I'm not going to, make that mistake again.
Yeah, that's kind of important. I think often when I make a mistake, the way I repeat it is you try to hide it. You're like, whoops, that didn't really okay, we'll just kind of scan over that.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like the universe is kind of like, hey, man, remember this
Yeah.
happened? What are you going to do about it?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, I embed it. I speak it, and I'm okay with that. Look, we're all human. I've made a lot, obviously a lot of mistakes. I think it's okay. It's good. That's how we learn. I look at mistakes as that's a school. That's the learning experience. I made an investment maybe like 4 years ago, and the investment it was a small amount. I think it was like 10 grand to make 250. It was a great return, right? And on the day where I was supposed to cash out the 250, I didn't know how to cash it out. And so it delayed, and the stock essentially started dropping so that 250 went to 50. And I was just like, holy shit, that was a $200,000 mistake I just made in one day, because I just simply didn't know how to cash it out. And I was really furious for a couple minutes, and then I was like, okay, I'll never make that mistake again. That was a very expensive, learning experience, but it was a learning experience nonetheless. So that's just what it is.
Yeah, you just
and
move
I
on.
will, Cody, I'll never make that freaking mistake again. I promise you.
What's the mistake? Investing in the stock market with quick returns,
Yeah,
or not
yeah.
knowing how to cash out? What's the
Not knowing
mistake?
how to cash out. Yeah, I didn't have the right system set up and people set up to cash it out. So
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, that's happened to me a lot. A
Okay.
lot of times when you invest in private companies before they go public, you have 90-day lockup periods, right?
Yeah.
And so, you might think you're doing really well on the private side, but then when they went public back in our cannabis days, we had a lot of companies where, man, they did great for those first 30 or 60 days. But I
Right.
was just sitting there like, God, I don't think they're going to make it to 90, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So I never really like investing in the stock market for that reason. Too
Yeah.
many other people can influence your outcome.
yeah, I have a little bit, but I don't really do stock market. I like
Yeah.
private stuff I can really control.
Yeah, one of the things that's wild that you have that I was looking up is you own a farm now.
Yes.
Tell me about the farm. What made you buy
one?
a farm? Oh, you have two now?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have one in Austin,
Oh.
Cedar Trunk Ranch.
Okay, I don't know anything about that one. I know
Yeah.
about the honey farm.
Yeah, Sweet Honey Farm.
Uh-huh.
Sweet Honey Farm, bought it as my home. It's a farm. It's, it's a working farm. And I had an open door policy to my friends. Come by. I harvest my cows. I harvest, the food in the garden. Here, come get it.
And like by harvest, you're there? Like you're
I have a team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I grew
So
up
you
in
hired some
Idaho and New
people.
Hampshire on a farm. And so I know what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have a team that runs it.
Is that really expensive?
It gets expensive. Yeah, very expensive if you don't have a revenue stream in.
Yeah.
And so I kind of noticed that. I was like, this is a black hole if I don't, sell the meat, or I don't sell the garden goods, or I don't put some type of cash flow onto the property. And so with farms, you can do CSA, community supported agriculture. And so I opened up a CSA farm. And so people pay an annual fee and they get access to my farms. And second one's going in Nashville. Third one's going in Colorado.
Wow. So it's basically like a subscription to your farm.
Correct.
And I get an allocation of a certain amount of vegetables or meat
or
something.
whatever you want. Yeah, I have the unlimited policy, but everyone's very respectful of, they take what they need.
Interesting.
You don't have people coming in and grabbing 100 tomatoes, and it's not world
Because
end.
you screen them.
Well, yeah, and it's just like people are respectful. Yeah, I screen everybody. I do a sauna session with them.
Oh, interesting.
But most of them, I have a big network. They're a lot of my friends, and just people that come live local around New York City.
Interesting.
And so it's only 45 minutes from New York City, and we play pickleball, basketball, sauna, cold plunge, work out. There's a coffee shop on the property. Pro Mix. I have my Pro Mix juice bar, and my chef cooks stuff from the farm. But it's all my friends, and it's all free. You
That's
pay one. You
amazing.
pay one fee. There's no upsell. I think
You
there's
can
too
come
many.
whenever you want.
Yeah, come 9 to 5. We're open every day.
Interesting.
There's too many nightclubs. There's too many these clubs where they're pushing alcohol on you. They're pushing all these upsells of, get a massage for $500, and use our hyperbaric chamber for another $500, and grab a dinner with your friends for $2,000, and you leave. You're like, oh my god, I spent $4,000 at this freaking place. I don't want that. It's $7,500 for the year, and you get everything. And it's I'm just putting, I'm not serving alcohol. There's no drugs. It's just very come and feel good. And so it's attracted a lot of founders, a lot of people that I would say there's, maybe 20 members there that have all sold their company for over 200 million. They cashed out and they just come for the day and hang out.
I love that because they get to be gentlemen farmers, which
They
is like
do.
a new thing
Yeah.
without all the
Ride
heartache
horses, yeah.
yeah, you have giant horses there that I've seen.
Yeah, big boys.
Do you also have mini ponies?
I have one mini pony, Buttons.
I'm into that. I'm coming.
He's tiny.
Buttons.
The kids
is
can
his
ride
name?
him.
Oh,
The big Clydesdales.
Yeah.
They weigh 2,500 pounds. They're huge.
That's
and then
wild.
I have a couple Arabian horses, a couple Mustangs, the tiny horse, cows, Scottish Highland cows.
Oh yeah, the cute ones,
Yeah.
fuzzies.
300 chickens.
300 chickens?
Yeah. 100 chickens are meat chickens, so I'll harvest those in
Got it.
6 weeks, and we just got them. And then
How do you decide if it's a meat or a ongoing
just two different
chicken?
types of chicken.
Okay, it's not personality based. No,
Maybe.
there's no scorecard.
Kinda,
Like you
yeah.
get to stay.
Yeah, if
you
they're
get to go.
pain in the ass, they turn to meat.
Okay.
Meat
Tracks.
soup. No.
No PETA
and then the other
listeners.
chickens, they produce eggs, and then everything from the garden goes to the eggs, or goes to the chickens. They produce eggs, and we eat them. And
Wow, this
Yeah.
is a big enterprise.
it's a super fun project. I love it. It's kind of some people sell their company and invest in restaurants. This is kind of my restaurant. This is not a restaurant, but it's kind of my hobby, and it just attracts really good people.
And you're going to open up around the country.
Yes,
Wild.
there's 10,000 people on the wait list.
That's crazy from your videos.
Yeah.
You have a big Instagram where in as far as I can tell, you document this stuff. It's not that much content creation. It's like, today I'm doing a 47-hour long sauna with all my buddies, and then you document it.
That's it.
And then through that is how you get the 10,000 people on your wait list.
Yeah, I'm just raw, authentic. I don't want to use the word authentic because I think it's overused, but it's raw. I mean, I try to put out as much raw stuff as possible. I don't enjoy seeing things online and then meeting that person in real life, and they're too.
Dude, it's not the
I'm
worst.
like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's not my vibe.
Yeah, it
I
always
want
makes
you to
me
get
sad. I'm like, I wish
Yeah.
I didn't meet you because you seem super cool online. And I wish
Right.
we could just stay there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I just want to. My definition of success is being yourself 100% of the time. And so if I can be myself to you or to the president or to someone I just randomly met in the airport or whatever, I think that's success.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you don't have to put on show. I think a lot of time we don't have to put on show, right? We just do for whatever reason. Insecurity, we're young, we're idiots.
Yep.
I've done that many, many times. Of
course.
And then you realize, like, actually, everybody can tell.
Yeah.
Eek, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
And you'd probably be cooler if you just acted like who you were.
way cooler.
Yeah. Plus, the internet's full of everything. I
Yeah.
mean, you have a bunch of people that want to follow you talking about horses and honey and working out. And
Yeah.
there are people that are really into like anime and popcorn.
It's
Audience
insane.
for all.
There's 8 billion people and everyone has different interests.
Yeah.
And you're never going to please everybody. Obviously.
That's very true.
So it's like just do what you want and what you like, and then what you put out in the world, that's what you attract back in. It's a law of energy. It's very simple.
Do you think that a lot of this sort of free thought and being who you are and living this big, huge life goes back to sort of your dad? And you've talked about some of this publicly before, but how he passed and your relationship with him.
Yeah. I think he was pretty. He did what he wanted. He was very stubborn. Yeah, he was a stubborn, like curious. He climbed Mount Rainier. He climbed some mountains. He was back when he was a kid. He was Boy of the Year for the Men and Boys Club of America. He got invited to the White House. Like he did some cool things as a human, but he was definitely very stubborn in the sense of he just wanted to do what he wanted when he wanted, And so I think that probably translated over. My mom's like that as well. All my sisters are very free spirit. They all, one lives in Hawaii, one lives in, Oregon and New Hampshire. Like they're all over. Everyone's very independent and doesn't necessarily let society impact the decisions or a degree or, what society calls success. It's kind of like, what do I was taught to like define success as my own. And so, I don't know, I think all my sisters and kind of how I grew up was always like that. And so, I don't know, that's just how I live.
Yeah. Do you think that kids these days need to go to school, that university helps?
I think it depends on, how you learn. I think some kids are amazing in school, and that's they need to sit down and they need to be taught, X, Y, Z on a board. And some are like, I need to be outside and be touch with my hands. Some are visual learners. Some need to read it. Some need to listen. I think once you understand how you learn, then freaking deep dive into that. I know me learning is sitting here with you, or traveling to different mountains, or climbing to top of the world, or, putting my body through mayhem, in the bear crawl, or riding across America, or going to Antarctica, or hosting an event with Diplo in Antarctica. Like, I don't know, just like doing different things.
Did you do that?
I did do that last year. That's my school though. You know what I mean? That's my school, not... So back to I think some school is great, but what's your school? So school is good, but define what your school is. Maybe it's Harvard.
How does one find that?
I don't know. I think you just do. You just go. You just try different things. Yeah.
So say you try a lot of stuff. I think a lot of people don't know if they like it or not. Like, what's your process for like, I'm not going to do this again. Or I liked that. That was great. Do you sit and think about it? Is it just a feeling? Do you go with your gut reaction? How does a young person actually decide what is their school?
I don't know. If you get those butterflies inside when you're doing something, you're like, that was fun. Like think of a time back when you were a kid or a teenager or in college or any time in your life, and you got those butterflies inside. Was it helping someone? Well, then maybe you should try some philanthropy things. Was it building something? Maybe you should look into architecture, building houses, building a company. Was it reading? Maybe you're meant to be a freaking lawyer. Maybe you love reading. Maybe you're meant, you know what I mean? Like everyone's different, but you got to try. I've tried so many things. And so I know exactly how I learn, and I just deep dive into that every day. You know?
What did you do with Diplo in Antarctica? Which is a weird question to ask.
We hosted 150 people on a ship on the coast of Antarctica for 7 days. We jumped in the water. We, had, saunas, and we did yoga, and he performed, and it was just a fun 7-day trip in Antarctica with 150 random people.
Why? So you just do kind of like these, it's almost like mini businesses.
Yeah.
Like there's just like this is a cool idea. Let's try it once and see if it works.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Have you always done that?
Yeah. I mean, I was in survival mode since I was 16, since my dad passed away. I got to pay my bills. I don't have anyone paying my cell phone bill. So I got to pay the $60 a month. How do I do that? Okay, well, what if, I was in military academy at the time and no one would, pay for my cell phone, and, every other parents were paying. I didn't have that luxury. So I was like, how do I pay for this $60 a month? I'm not making any money, but I have $10. And so I remember I snuck out of, I don't think I've ever even told this story before, but I was in study hall in our rooms in the barracks at Valley Forge Military Academy, and I had like $10 on me, and I needed to pay my $60 bill. And so I snuck out the window, and I go to McDonald's. And meanwhile, Valley Forge is $60,000 a year. I was on a scholarship, and so there's a bunch of rich kids there. And I went to McDonald's and I bought 10 McDoubles, and I came back and I sold them all for $10 a piece. And the kids bought them, and so I was like $100, 60. I just made 40, so now I have 40. And I would do that at study hall, And so I think I was always in survival mode since then, and now I just get, get scrappy and get creative with it. But what I have noticed with people that do get scrappy is that you can go two directions. One direction, you can always be scrappy and sell stuff, but it's snake oil.
Yeah.
And it's quick in and out. The other is you protect your reputation no matter what. And I kind of went that route. I don't just sell stuff. I don't just create stuff just to make money. I want to actually help people and create products. Hence why we started ProMix, right? I was like, man, I grew up in a health and wellness, household. I met Albert, my partner, and, there was nothing affordable with like really, really clean ingredients, like raw, where we traced it back to the farms that we got them from, and we packaged them up ourselves in glass containers. So there's no microplastics or anything. Like, how do we do this? And so we were fixing something for us, and then we were like, I think other people are going to like this as well. Some good grass-fed whey protein, some debloat for your gut, some things that we want to use, in our daily habits. And that's kind of how it came about. But it's an honest business. You know, it's not like, oh, freaking tallow is hot right now, let's do tallow, or cryo chambers are hot right now, let's do a cryo business. It's not. I don't like going down that route. I want, you know, a good analogy is nightclubs versus restaurants. Nightclubs are in and out. They're quick, 2-3 years. They're hot in the city. People go to them, and then, you know, 3 years later they rebrand, new nightclub. I like the restaurant that's open for 25, 30, 50 years. I want that family-owned restaurant. And so I try to go down that route with businesses and have some longevity to it versus it's a sustainability versus these quick wins. Yeah. The quick wins are normally I don't make money on them. They're good marketing plays. They're fun. They're just fun. You know what I mean? Like
and they attract a bunch of interesting people.
Did we make money on the Diplo Antarctica trip? No, zero. You know what I mean? First couple of years of Running Man, we made no money. Like these are just fun things we want to do. And I don't know, we just try to bring people together.
Tell me about the trip to Africa where you found this weird nut that you're turning into
seed. Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know what the difference is between a nut and a seed.
That's all right.
Do you?
A seed grows and a nut
is
you
the
eat.
End growth? Is that the end product?
Fact check.
Fuck. Whatever. YouTube will tell us.
I actually kind of want to know that. Nut versus seed. A nut you can
eat, but you could eat a seed too.
Can you?
I mean, sunflower seed.
What's the difference between a nut and a seed?
What do you think, Christian?
Google is saying a nut is technically a type of seed.
Wow.
The outer shell is considered part of the fruit, while a seed is the reproductive part of a plant that contains the potential for a new plant to grow.
Doesn't it sound better when he says it too? He's like a plant.
Yeah, that's it. Can we put that on here?
Yeah,
I want to put that on there.
Yeah,
wow.
100%.
Well,
we will edit in Christian's beautiful British voice telling us what a nut or seed is. So you're in Africa. Where are you?
I'm in Africa, in Tanzania. I was climbing Kilimanjaro, which I recommend. It's a very easy climb, hike per se. There's 14ers in Colorado are much harder, right? It's just fun. So I'm out there. It maybe takes us 6 days. I'm with some buddies. Get invited to the village that we just went up with our guides with.
Is this like a Masai Mara?
It's a Maasai community. Mm-hmm. It's a couple hours outside Tanzania, and so I'm just eating some goat and some other stuff that they give us. And these kids were coming up to me with this seed, and the seed is huge. I didn't know what it was at the time, but it's called the baobab seed. And the baobab seed has an insane amount of vitamin C and an insane amount of potassium. And so I was like, there's got to be something I can do with this. This is a really cool concept.
So it's like the size of a football?
It's huge, yeah. And so we had Promix at the time. And when I hear, 4 times the amount of potassium, 4 times the amount of vitamin C, I'm like, I want to take this every day. And so I bring it back to my partner, and I'm like, what can we do with this? And I've always been big in gut health because gut is, your second brain. It's where your mood, your energy, 70% of major diseases are formed from your gut. And so if you can get your gut on point, you're good. You're that much more de-risked from death or diseases. And the 2 things in your gut that you really need to be focused on is pre and probiotics, pre and probiotics. So they are 2 bacterias that work with each other to essentially fix your gut liner, to help break down food, right? So it can then the nutrients can go in your bloodstream. And most people don't take prebiotics, they'll take probiotics, and they think they're taking them with yogurt, but once you have artificial flavors in yogurt, right, or it takes out the probiotics. So like a lot of people aren't even taking probiotics when they think they are. So these are pre and probiotics. There's natural prebiotics in the baobab as well. Put turmeric in it for inflammation. And then organic oranges for flavor from Florida. And it's called D-bloat, and it helps flush your pipes in the morning, and it helps clear your gut, and it helps fix the gut liner. And it's quickly became our top product. And I mean, you got to see the testimonials here. I mean, people had acne for years, and they started, taking it for a month, and boom, their face is clear. They were constipated on the regular, not anymore, right? People's mood changes when your gut is better, when your gut is healthier, when you don't have a leaky gut, when you have good nutrients, right? I mean, I don't want to sound cliche, but it's really about what you're putting in your body. And if you can put some good fuel in your body, everything else starts to make sense. You wake up with less anxiety. You wake up happier. You wake up like, wow, like I'm not freaking, I don't feel like 1,000 pounds right now. I feel a little bit lighter. I feel happy, you know, and it all comes down to your gut.
Do you drink alcohol?
I drink alcohol.
You do?
Yeah. I've recently, you know, pulled back on it just based on some studies, and I'm a weed guy.
Yeah.
I like weed.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a weed guy.
Okay, I could tell the hat. You
Yeah,
know,
is it the hat?
I don't know if it's the hat or the overalls.
Yeah,
but I
I'm
wouldn't be shocked if
both.
you told me that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I like
I
weed.
used to do some of it, but it got too intense. Like the amount of THC that they're putting in stuff today, I think is fucking criminal.
Oh, it's
honestly.
crazy?
Yeah, it's got to be real careful. But you probably do like more organics and like as opposed to synthetic. But a lot of the stuff that they're creating like just has never existed in nature before. And
Wow.
so anyway, I'm biased because I was in cannabis for
You were.
quite a while, and I saw a lot of people starting to get cannabinoid hypermeiosis syndrome.
Which is?
Well, they haven't been able to do enough research on it, so there needs to be more research. But essentially, two of my family members got it. It's where you get violently ill by using cannabis. And this is for people who are using it
Whoa.
quite a lot, but it's almost the opposite of what you think with cannabis. Like they give cannabis to people who have, are going through chemo, right? And so this essentially, it turns off some of your cannabinoid receptors is what they think happens. And so it's wild. Like, I mean, I saw it firsthand. A member of my family, for 2 weeks couldn't leave the house. They have like this insane amount of hot showering they do. So like I remember for 2 weeks, one of them was at my house and he wouldn't be able to get out of the shower. He'd get violently ill. So it would just be like really hot water kind of consistently for 2 weeks straight, basically. Lost like 25 pounds.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think
That's not fun.
No, but like everything in life, there's pros and cons. So definitely if you drink too much, you'd have other things. So
But then again, if you drink too much, you might have the best ever time with your boys. You know what I mean? You might have the best story
That's my
ever.
problem. I love Huberman, but sometimes I'm like, man, where's the joy?
Yeah,
Taking it all.
Sometimes you got to have 30 beers with the boys and just have at it.
Could you have 30 beers at once? I'd be dead.
Yeah, I mean throughout the day. Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah.
That's funny. The way you shrug it off.
Yeah, 30. Yeah.
Then you sauna and I sponge immediately following.
Sauna, cold the next day, and you're boom, right back at
And
it.
you're ready to go.
It's like the Wolf of Wall Street clip when he just gets. Have you seen that clip? You got to
No.
put the clip in.
Okay,
right?
what's
You
the
know
clip?
what I'm talking about.
Christian.
The clip.
Is this like a man clip?
When he
like
just gets after it, and then steam, sauna, gets in the helicopter, back at it.
This is not me. It would take me out for 2 days.
Yeah.
Kind of on that same vein, I've been obsessed lately about and reading a ton of research about young men in our country. And basically, loneliness epidemic, getting married later, not having as much sex, higher suicide rates. And then I see somebody like you that I think could be an antidote to some of that. Like, what do you say or tell to young men who are struggling in today's society?
Get a community around you. Find a community and join it. And also just do the basics, right? Are you drinking enough water? Overdose with water. Are you just getting sun in the morning, right? Are you just going outside, taking your shoes off and just looking at the sun? The community is big because, we as humans make 250,000 decisions per week. And with those decisions, normally they're just up in our brain and we're not talking to anyone about it. When I have a big decision to make, I have a group chat of 12 of my buddies. I call each one of my buddies and I say the exact same issue to each one. Yo, I'm going on Codie's podcast. I don't know her, yada, yada. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, blah, blah, blah. He gives me an answer. I say the same thing. Yo, I'm going on Codie's podcast, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what to... He gives me an answer. And I go down the list. And out of those 12 guys, I come up with my answer. And now I'm here in the podcast and I feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously an example, but we go through so many decisions and we don't have people to lean on. And so, yes, the suicide rate is going to skyrocket. You know what I mean? Yes, you're going to be depressed because you're making up these stories in your head. It's called the vicious cycle, right? Of just... Well, she didn't answer my text. Well, she didn't answer my text because I was wearing those weird shoes that day. And I was wearing those, well, I didn't mean to wear those weird shoes. Someone gave me those weird shoes. And now, Meanwhile, she was at church,
Yeah.
you know? And so if we can just calm that voice and we can have a community to lean on, and there's tons of communities out there. I mean, you see all the new run clubs, all the new member clubs opening up, all the, you know, all these new podcasts, all these new just churches, you know, there's so many different gyms. There's so many communities, tech, you know, get-togethers, book clubs. There's communities out there. Try them all. Go try jujitsu, join a book club. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Go to Sweet Honey Farm.
It's
you know,
a really good point. I
join
went to
a community.
I went to a church the other day in a movie theater, a converted movie theater here. It's
Wow.
called Red Rocks. And if it wasn't the best looking group of young men and women I've seen, I was like, Jesus, like this
Yeah.
is not what my church was like back in
Right.
the day. Catholic church, we were a little sad looking. But this group, I was like, whoa, if I was young and single in Austin, bam, I would definitely be there.
Right.
Like ethical, moral compass, young people, care about mission. I mean, all
Right.
stereotypes, arguably.
Yep.
But I think you're right. I mean, we have two members of the team, Christian would know who, that, do you know what they do, Devin? Tell me if you've ever heard of this before.
Okay.
They go to a bar and they play Dungeons and Dragons.
What?
I know.
Unbelievable.
Super nerds.
Wow.
Love these guys. They're my sweet little nerds. But they go to this. There's a bar every Thursday night where people get together and they play Dungeons and Dragons in person.
That's a community.
It's a community. And I didn't even know. I kind of thought Dungeons and Dragons was like a board game.
Yeah.
But I guess you act it out.
I've never played Dungeons and Dragons in my life. I don't even know what that is. I thought it was a video
open
game.
invitation.
Yeah.
I asked them, I'm like, because they're two kind of good looking women who work for me. I'm like, what does the group look like when you walk into Dungeons and Dragons? They're like, about exactly what you think they look like.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I was
really?
like, yeah, they're like, but, you know, it's awesome. And one of them's funny, Lindsay. She goes, I'm a 12 at Dungeons and
Wow.
Dragons.
She's ripping it up.
Yeah, she's
also-
killing the game.
I also think with that, like to find the community, you have to have the values. Like
Yeah.
you have to know what your no matter what's are in life. Too many of us are going through and living off values of, you know, that business you're working for, or your boss's values, or your parents' values, or your grandparents' values versus like, what do you care about?
Yeah.
You know, you're not the same person as your grandfather or grandmother or your best friend. You're a different person. And so it's like, what are the 5 things that your absolute no matter what's are? And once you know that, you can align with people with the same values versus the same industry. You're not going to get along with everyone at that real estate happy hour, right? It's just not going to happen. But you will get along with everyone if they have the exact same values as you. If mine are family, health, freedom of time, community, and giving back, and you have similar values, we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna get along. I'm gonna be able to call you and say, "Yo, man, that workout was freaking tough. You know, that sauna, man, I need a hotter sauna." And you're going to be like, "Yeah, I need a hotter," like we're going to connect on the things that we like and the values that we believe in and the health and, take the gut health medicine, take the debloat, right? Like we're going to connect on that. You're not going to connect with those people at the real estate happy hour.
Yeah.
And
So is
so-
that one thing you would tell somebody today? Like, hey, tell me what you stand for. Like, what are your 5?
Yeah.
Do most people that you know have a 5 or a values
No.
system?
And people, yeah. I mean, my
Your
friends,
close
my
friends.
group, yeah. But no, not a lot of people do. If I'm to ask everyone listening to this podcast, do you have 5 things you absolutely, no matter what, live by? And if something comes on your schedule right now and it goes against your value, are you doing it? I would say 90% of people are saying, shit, yeah, he's right. Like I do things I don't want to do. My schedule, I'm not doing it. Cody, if there's something on my schedule that doesn't align with one of those 5s, a person, a place, a thing, a business opportunity, an investment, I'm just not doing it. I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. That's how stubborn I am. And
I like
I'll
that.
just tell people no. Not enough people say no. The power of no. What did Nina say the other day? She said, your yes means a lot more if you say no.
She's
It's more
smart.
powerful.
I knew I liked her.
Wait,
So how did you get really set on these? Like those are 5. You've listed them off twice. They're obviously real. You're not prepping for a podcast.
No,
Those are
just-
part of the real deal.
Yep.
When did you sit down and say, these are my 5, and how did you immortalize those?
when I started feeling overwhelmed and not losing direction of life. And I called my therapist guy at the time, and he gave me that advice, Johnny Martin. He goes, he's like, you need to write this sentence on your whiteboard. And the sentence read, if a person, place, or thing does not add value to my life from a family, and I list out my values: family, community, health, freedom of time, or giving back perspective, then it's taking value from me. So if a person, place, or thing does not add value to my life from those 5 things, then it's taking value from me. And I wrote on my board, and underneath my board I had ProMix and All Day Running and Olipop and, you know, all these different companies I started or I invested in or, whatever. All these things I was doing with my life and my schedule. And I simply took a red marker and I started crossing shit off that did not align. And all of a sudden my board got smaller and smaller. And I felt a whole, that feels better. Let's go. Let's go.
So then what do? You call up the companies and you're like, I'm out?
Yeah. You kind of you cut,
Yeah.
you know?
I do that once a year too.
I think you have to do it. I think you don't owe anybody anything. You know, you got to be selfish sometimes and worry about your own health and your mental space and how you're spending your time. You know, if you don't own your time, then someone else is gonna puppet you around. You know, you got to own your time. But how do you own your time if you don't even know what you want to do with your time? That's where the values come in. It's like the same thing with money. I want $100 million. What the frick are you going to do with $100 million? Do you even know how to spend $1 million? Do you even what do you mean you want $100 million? Well, I can just chill on a beach. You're going to be bored on a beach after day 5.
Yep.
You want to chill on a beach? No, I'm not. Yes, you are. I promise. You're going to be bored. Figure out what you really love. I love Sweet Honey Farm. I love ProMix. It's fun. It's it aligns with my values. My values are embedded in these companies. All Day Running, Jesse, it's embedded it. It doesn't feel like work. People in the Western culture separate life and work. It's all life. It's all 24 hours. It's all life at the end of the day. And so why are we separating things and categorizing? It's life. Our time that we've spent here so far, we're never getting it back, ever. Ever. It's no one's creating a time machine. So it's you gotta own that time and know how you're spending your time. And I think the values are something you can lean back on to de-risk the decisions, the 250,000 decisions you make every week.
That's really good. Yeah, one of the things that I learned early on, if you're going to invest or do multiple businesses, is that every year you got to prune just like a rose bush. And I remember one of my mentors saying that to me. He's like, I wish that you were smart enough to make the right decision every single time, but you won't be.
Yeah.
And he's like, so if you know you're not going to be, what do you know you got to do? Get a pair of scissors. And so every single year there's going to be some cutting. But I think I fall into the camp of often waiting too long. You know, I'll let him hang on. I'll really try to fix it. I'll try to be the good partner. I'll try to meet them. And I think that is where misery really starts.
Yep.
So,
I agree.
So is this a process that you do continuously on a weekly basis, a daily basis, a yearly basis?
Yeah, all the time. I'm constantly looking at, I don't do anything if it's not in my schedule,
Yep.
an Outlook. I look at my schedule. I mean, feeding the dogs, going to the farm, sauna, cold plunging, it's all on there. And yeah, I look at it every morning, night before, call my assistant, take that off, keep it on, whatever, and just audit accordingly every single day. A lot of the times I cancel calls, I push the calls. I don't want to take the calls. And they're probably great humans and they're doing great stuff for the world, but I'm just not spending my time doing that. Yeah. And you if you're not that way, you'll get taken advantage of. You'll waste your time. You'll have regret 10 years down the road. Shit, I was doing what everyone else wanted me to do, but not what I wanted to do. You got to audit your time.
So true. Yeah. I have a guy I really admire, Tim Ferriss, who's become a friend, and he's coming out with his new book, The No Book.
Cool.
And, he was kind of laughing about you would think that's not that long of a book, but he's like, actually, all these things creep in on you every single way possible. And so life is this series of they want you to say yes to things, and you've got to figure out how do I say no more often.
Well, yeah, and then everyone's going to say, well, how am I supposed to pay my bills? Well, how about the guy I just spoke about that's in his tent in Arizona that doesn't have the bills? Backtrack of what you really need, not want, need. We just sold ProMix, and I asked all my sisters, what do you need? And they all said, nothing, or we're good. And I know they need something, but they all said, no, I'm good. I'm like, do you want anything? No, I'm good. I don't need anything. I'm like, those are some good sisters. They're not leeching. They're like, how can I help you, Dev? And I'm like, cool. Too many people go through, they think they need something, but really it's just a want. So if you can't, if you're trying to own your time and you're trying to do what you want, but you feel like, oh man, I'm held back because of bills, or I'm held back because, well, my parents want me to do X, Y, Z because I got this degree and I have to go do, nah, fuck that. Delete it. Start from zero. Move to Jamaica. Go sell some coconuts. You know,
I'm
get
in.
a place that's $100 a month. You
We
know
had
what
Paul
I'm saying?
Saladino on here. He moved to Costa Rica. He brings coconuts with him to the airport everywhere. You know, one of the cool parts about a podcast like this and why I like bothering people like you is because there are so many ways to live. And like
yeah.
when you get to see these other humans, whether it's traveling or just listening to a podcast, you're like, that motherfucker doesn't seem much smarter than I am. Those two aren't that much, and they can live these lives. What's the deal?
Yeah, I'm not that smart. I'm a D
neither.
student. I'm like, look, I'm just figuring out like everyone every day, and everyone's like that. I've met the richest people in the world. I'm talking Elon Musk, and I've met some of the poorest people in the world, and every single person in between is everyone's trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Everyone's trying to figure it out every day. All of us. Maybe I was running late today to the podcast. I'm just trying to get through the traffic like everyone else. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. So if we were to end it
Yeah.
with one thing, which is, well, actually, you know what I want to end it with?
Yeah,
that I was
go.
going to ask you.
Yeah.
Can we do a fun segment?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay. I want to do rapid fire questions on your gym and your farm. Okay.
Jim.
Rapid fire. Favorite animal on your farm?
Sir Peppercorn, my horse.
Which one? Big one?
He's like a spotted thoroughbred. I love him. He's great.
Okay. We'll find him on your Instagram.
Yeah,
I
Sir
think
Peppercorn.
Okay. I like it. Most expensive animal at your farm?
Sir Peppercorn.
How much did he cost to buy?
He's a $75,000 horse.
Wild.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite piece of gym equipment?
Ooh. Favorite gym equipment, the sauna.
Most expensive?
The sauna? No. Yeah, saunas are expensive.
Is this a special sauna?
Yeah, I have an
it's
infrared and a
big.
traditional. Yeah.
Isn't it? I think I've seen
Yeah.
it on. It's like you can fit a small little army in there.
Yeah, I have a 50-person sauna and then a 10-person sauna, so they're both pretty big.
What does a 50-person sauna cost?
100,000.
That's wild. Favorite event you've ever been to or hosted?
Running Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to go
Running
to this
Man's
one.
so fun.
How much does Everest cost to hike?
$250,000.
And 2 months. That's wild.
Yep. And no sponsors. That was all out of pocket. I didn't want any thing deviating me and my brain from drink this, try this, do
good
this.
point.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
all
you didn't
me.
want to have to like make content on the
No.
mountain.
I did test my company ProMix. We
Yeah.
created a blood flow product, and it's beets and berries, and it helps get circulation going, so you're a little bit warmer, and blood flow is essential for your body. That's
Yeah.
why your heart's pumping, and so I tested that on there. But besides that, yeah.
That's crazy. You were testing new products on the mountain? Yeah,
Yeah.
you must believe in your shit.
Oh
huh?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
You just sold ProMix? Is that what you said?
We did, yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yes,
Is this a big exit for you?
yes, it was.
Oh, that's amazing. All right,
Yes.
wait a second.
Yep.
That means we should cheers.
Cheers.
Man, that's a big deal.
Yes.
I know you've sold a few companies, but
No, this was the biggest so far.
that's amazing. It's hard to build something in general, and then real hard to build something good enough, strong enough that another person wants to take it over.
Yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
hard.
And you sell a lot of this per month. Can you say how many units you do, or is that
Oh
private?
man, it's private, but we do a lot. Like
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands.
That's
People drink this every single month. D-bloat. Yeah, it's good.
That's amazing. Okay, let's end with this question. So, new year, new you. People are like that everywhere. You have what appears to me to be like a wild amount of motivation and sort of grit to grin and bear really terrible things. How would you inspire somebody else to do the same thing? How would you inspire somebody to keep going when they don't want to, when it feels terrible, when it seems like they can't?
Yeah. We're all faced with life, and life only gets you to a certain level of grit. It's those times where your body feels like it's going to break down, or your brain's about to give up, or it's cold, or your feet are frozen for 12 hours, or you're, at mile 24 of the 26.2 marathon, It's those last couple miles that you start to learn things about yourself massively. And I can't teach that. No, I mean, no one can teach that. You just have to do it. And a lot of the times it's in some type of physical adventure where you learn the most about yourself. And when you can take that information and implement it into your business and life, it's where you start to separate from the rest. And so that's my motivation, is it's my learning. It's where you learn about everything. It's about really yourself. And so many of those times where my feet were frozen on Everest, or my body was giving up on the bear crawl, or, I'm doing rim to rim to rim in the Grand Canyon, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't feel my legs anymore. It's those last couple hours, the last day, that you start to learn who the frick you are, and that grit level, you got to just keep increasing it, to an extent, right? I'm not saying, risk your life, but I am saying, like, it's important to add in those grit challenges, see what this body's capable of, because it's pretty remarkable what the human body can do.
Yeah, you're right. I actually have a bracelet I wear that says, that I give out to people. It says, remember who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good reminder, because a lot of times we forget we're way more capable than we think. And it's really easy on the internet to tell people that all the excuses and the reasons why they can't. And part of the reason that I do any of this stuff we do is I think that's fucking terrible. I think, like, the biggest crime you could commit against another human is trying to get them to not believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier. You sound way more sophisticated when you talk about all the reasons why things won't work. You sound Pollyanna as fuck when you say that you might be capable of a lot.
Right.
So I like your mission a lot, because you
Thank you
kind
so
of
much.
show it live.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So Devin Levesque
Yes.
on all the socials, mostly on Instagram. That's where I watch you the most.
Instagram, yeah, YouTube, TikTok, but only for a couple more days.
No, fuck the Chinese.
Yeah.
We'll keep it American.
Yeah, it's
Even if
all
Zuck does
all
censor
Instagram.
us, we're going to go with Instagram.
That's okay. Yeah, hit me on Instagram.
Yeah, okay, amazing. And then ProMix as well.
ProMix.
And we'll check out this drink, which I'm digging. So thank you for bringing me some
D-bloat.
D-bloat. I'm into that.
Yes.
African baobab.
Baobab.
Nut seeds were unclear. Could be either.
Seed. Definitely a seed.
Definitely.
It has the seeds inside, technically.
Okay, full circle. Thanks,
Yes.
Devin. You're the man.
Thanks so much.
And my mom picks me up at Sunday night to like pack up and drive me home. And I've got two 30, 40, 50-year-old men telling my mom, like, your son's a genius. Because I was doing all sorts of weird shit that nobody else was doing. And so, yeah, I mean, that was...
Like what?
Like the dollar rack. Like I was selling like 50, 60, 70 cent and $1.20, $1.30 cards that you can't move those cards. But because I merchandised them as a dollar rack with a huge sign, everybody just stopped by and bought cards. My friend Brandon Warnicki, who's still in my life, we met at 14, we did baseball card shows. He runs the wine library. I talk to him every day. He's one of the few humans on earth I talk to every day. I mean, he was baffled by the dollar rack. When I put it out, he was like, that's not gonna work. And then like 3 hours later, there's not a card left in the dollar rack. Merchandising matters.
Explain what that is to somebody who doesn't know what merchandising is.
How a human sees it on the other side. When you walk into, like, you know how like some of you like, it's very simple. It's like, think about, the best way to describe merchandising is to describe to everybody their home. Some of us, like me, are comfortable in slobbery. You know, crap on the floor, room doesn't smell. I mean, I was a fucking cliche dude, right? Like laundry on the ground, like room smells like shit, like things everywhere, like who gives a fuck? Like don't even do laundry, like where to sit. In my teenage, oh my God, such a dude. Other people can't even fall asleep in their apartment, in their like room, unless the fucking scent is perfect, everything's perfect. Like, good. So like how something shows up for you. I get excited walking up to a garage sale where shit's all over the place. But let me take a different angle on it. So that's the setting. Now imagine like, why are you grabbing something when you buy? Like I always ask myself, after I do it, why did I just pick that up? It's on the end cap. It's at the register. That sign, the presentation. By the way, merchandising is the fashion industry. You know, like presentability, but like what compels someone to grab an item. That's always what I thought about. The sign, the positioning, the location within the store, the eyesight level. Do you understand that retailers like think like I think like a retailer, like what's at eye level is what sells. Bottom shelf doesn't sell. When I used to get mad at a supplier, if we didn't have like good negotiations or like they weren't supporting us, I took their most important products and put it on the bottom shelf. Merchandising, you know, I obsessed when I was 15. When I was 15, 16, I was allowed to go upstairs. Before that, I was downstairs in the warehouse. And when I was at the register bagging for the cashier, which is what I was doing, and then I became a cashier at 16, I could see how people walk, based on where my dad's registers were, I could see people walk in, and we were slow. We were still a local store at that point. I would watch every customer. They'd walk in, what do they grab, why? So it's presentation, how your table's laid out. It's why I was good at UI and UX when the internet came along. All the designers in 97, 98, 99, 2000 were like, yo, you're really good at this. Because I thought like a consumer, like why would they click that button? What about below the fucking scroll? What about the checkout? I literally had, you know, empty cart or like lapse cart or whatever it was called. What the hell was it? Abandoned carts. I remember going to my developer in 2000 being like, can we see who didn't check out? Like it was like, you gotta understand this is early internet.
Yeah, it didn't exist. Like we didn't, because you're thinking in the store, hey, that guy's walking out. Like, sir, did you not find something that's what you would do? That's
exactly what I would do. So I was like, is there an internet? Wait a minute, there's an internet version of this. I'm like, Eric Kastner, big shout out to him. Eric, can you see in the code? Like, I didn't even know what to call it. The code, the server, we used such funny words back then. He's like, yeah, we started emailing people that had abandoned carts and fucking crushed. So like, you know.
Merchandising it's so funny because the other day I went to, this was 2 days ago, I went to the Harry Potter store here.
Nice, yeah.
And the reason why, same thing you said, who's better at merchandising in the fucking world than the entertainment space? And I think arguably Harry Potter, probably one of the best of our lifetimes, right?
Yeah, it's one of the incredible IPs that we saw birth.
Exactly. And when you walk into that store, it's always packed. And it is huge margin. It's incredibly well designed, and like they rotate merch, but what I've kind of noticed is they don't rotate it that much.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they always have to have some new.
Are you a huge Harry Potter fan?
I'm a big Harry Potter fan, but I'm not crazy about it.
You're not crazy, but you're very solid.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so watching that taught me a lot about, okay, well, if we're ever going to do merch, how do we do this right? How do I make every person who comes in, they have those little greeters, you know, Sam Walton. I loved that. He was like looking to cut costs, but also put a greeter in front because he realized, oh, it makes people feel different too. Like they're special for coming in the store.
To that point, I do that too. I don't like the middle. So I would say what I see with a greeter at Walmart is not playing in the middle. It's like price, convenience all the way here on the right, but then spend on things that others don't spend on because it changes the context of the relationship. I always talk about scale the unscalable. Actually, here's a tidbit. I believe one of the great misses right now for all of the characters like you and I and everybody else that's aspiring to like win on content and brand is community management. I really do believe that way more people need to DM everyone back. If you and I do not have that bandwidth. But I'm telling you right now, if you're just kind of getting into your early stages and you have like 10,000 followers and you're posting and you're getting 14 comments, you're getting 13 DMs a day, reply to all of them. Scale the unscalable. That's how I built Gary Vee, by the way. Content and replying to everyone on Twitter from 2007 to 2011.
You kind of still do it on scale because I remember when I came and spoke at
Beacon?
I came and spoke. That's normal. I'll go speak at people's events. It's an amazing event. I had a great time. Very seldom does the head of the entire event ask to get my phone number and text me direct. That's really actually not that scary. I mean, how many speakers did you have there? Hundreds.
Yeah.
Not to mention that's not your only event. Not to mention you're doing these all over the world. That's actually not even that scalable for you.
Yep.
And so it seems like there's different levels to the game, but you still do the unscalable even at the highest level of the game.
I think the dirt and the clouds are the only interesting parts of the game.
That's good.
Yeah, and so even in my own organization, people ask me how I scale Vayner, and I say 10, 80, 10, and they're like, what does that mean? I go, when we're doing important shit, I tell the team I have to be involved in the first 10% because I'm molding it. Then I disappear, and then you need to come back to me to close it. I open and close. The middle's the problem, and winners and people aspiring to build big things spend way too much time in the middle. Meetings. I've famously internally and a little bit externally obsessed with 15-minute meetings. I had an epiphany. I was like, fuck, I crushed the dirt, the 15-minute meeting. I'm fucking up the clouds. I have a lot of 1-hour meetings that are actually 3-hour meetings. I've done more offsites, 2-3 day offsites this year. We're not even halfway through than I've done in the last 10. And it's been monumental. I had this epiphany in November, December of last year. I'm like, wait a minute, I've got the 15-minute meeting down. But this is about like feeling your feelings. I could feel that a lot of important meetings that were an hour weren't getting wrapped up. So now I'm doing a lot more 2- and 3-hour meetings and even 2- and 3 day offsites, 10, 80, 10.
That's a great framework because otherwise it does seem too much and you can get stuck in micromanagement forever. You're like, I'm trying to build a business. Gary and Codie, you said do that. And I need to have my hands on everything and I need to care about the dirt, but you can't all the time.
Oh my God, I would argue for your audience, like the SMB audience, like the mainstream audience, the number one reason they lose is they spend all their time in the 80. That's why my dad got small, didn't go as big as he could. He wanted to know everything. He wanted to touch everything. Many small business entrepreneurs are just trying to be solopreneurs. They don't realize it. They're scared of stealing, insecurity, someone getting better at it and leaving. There's all these millions of different things that people are worried about. 10, 80, 10.
What do you think the young entrepreneurs are sleeping on right now?
So many different things. When you know this, we've had the luxury of living just a little bit. We're still pretty young in the scheme of things, but I had so many, when I talk about my career, my life, I always think it's a homage to my parents and my circumstance. And so I had a lot of things figured out at 23, right? My mom really actually built self-esteem. I continue to believe that most people get successful because of insecurity, and there's a rare breed that gets there through confidence. And I'm so grateful that I'm in that small group, and I see it in others. But that's not me. That's how I was raised, and just the circumstance of being born in the Soviet Union and Jersey boy in the 80s and a million other things that are not me. I think a lot about the youth, to your point, and there's just a lot. I think, first of all, both men and women, I think we throw it on men, but I see it in a lot of young women. We want to get validation from the masses. It was always a vulnerability pre-social media, pre-internet, to want validation from the outside. But the outside in 1974 and 1983 was the Joneses, aka your neighbors. That was like the, like maybe your church, maybe your like neighbor, like it was tight. Maybe the people in the office, it was small. There's an extraordinary amount of wanting to show that you're successful going on. So I think one thing that a lot of the youth is struggling with is an extreme need for the Lambos, the watches, the followers, the cash, the trophies, the accolade, just so much outside validation. I think there's a lot of lack of self-awareness. I think that in general, that's a human thing, but meaning I think a lot of people chase the trend, whether it's, cannabis or NFTs or crypto or flipping or and listen, I'm curious about a lot of trends, but I think a lot of people are like, I'm going to do this because this is where I can make my millions. So I think I believe that one of the great ways to actually be successful is to truly know the things you like because you'll work that hard. Like, I don't think I could ever work as hard as I did if I didn't enjoy it. I couldn't muster it up. It's why I don't, back we were talking right before we started the gym, this morning was a grind. Yeah, like to me it was like, I really didn't want to, I really don't want to. And my gym, my eating discipline, my doing things around the house, these are fully procrastinations. These are laziness. This is avoidism. This is non-accountability. This is like, look, a bird over there, run away. Like, I do the reverse and work because it's my love. I do the reverse in playing basketball. I like it. I'm like, should definitely not be playing. I like it. I go out of my way. I was just saying to you, my back was hurting all week and I played last night. That was like crazy. So I think if you love what you do, you will do the things that actually are required to be successful, which is persevere through the daily shit, right?
It's hard to beat.
So I think those two things really stand out to me. And then the things, like I always laugh when I'm about to say it because I know some people are like, Gary, but like I do struggle with an obsession to try to teach these kids about patience. I literally punted my 20s and early 30s because I was obsessed with building a business for my parents. But I truly had nothing at 34, truly actually. Like when I started VaynerMedia, my biggest company, we started it in a conference room the size of this podcast studio in another company's conference room because I couldn't pay rent.
How big is it now?
Now it's 2,000 plus people, 350 million a year revenue, not valuation.
Oh, you run a profitable business that actually makes money? Shocking.
So it's a big business, and
that's only one of yours. Like how many? I was looking it up today. It's like Vayner 3, Vayner Sports, Vayner RSC, VFriends, which I think is a different entity. How many like Vayners you got?
There's VaynerX, the holding company that holds like 7 or 8 of the that's the marketing agency holding company.
Okay.
Outside of it is Vayner Sports because that's a separate business. That's me and my brother. My brother runs that with Greg Genske. That's becoming a pretty big business. We rep over 100 athletes, might even be close to 200 now. A newer one is Vayner Watt, W-A-T-T for Eric Wattenberg. That's a TV production company. Our first shows are going to start hitting the air here in the fall, and like that's starting to move and groove. VFriends is the other biggest business I run. That's my Marvel Pokemon. It's an intellectual property. I do actually believe in my 80s. That's what I will be known for more than anything else I've done.
And probably nobody understands that right now, right? Like when you launch it, they thought, this quick little NFT thing.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't understand me and Vayner. Most people don't know VaynerX. Most people, when they just heard 350 million, like when people come to Vayner, they're like they're like, what is this? I'm like, this is my company. They're like, most people think I'm a motivational speaker or a content creator, which is fine. I mean, I'm not overly worried about it. VCR group, I have a very substantial restaurant group that's going very well. We have that Fly Fish Club, which was also an NFT membership.
It's just there.
Yeah, it's really going well.
It was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's crushing, which is good because that was very high risk, high reward. You open up that kind of 8-figure build out, and the restaurant business is not nice. It's the hits business. Yeah, you should hate them. It's restaurants and sports agencies, bad businesses. Yeah. Passion though. Chef Capon, Chef Connor, David Rodolitz, my 3 partners in that business, this is their life. My brother punted a lot of money because he just wants to be a sports agent. You know, and now he's starting after a 10-year itch of like, hey, what else should, so I think it ebbs and flows. So anyway, long-winded, I wish kids were like, no, I really love sailing. Let me start a business around sailing, whether it's content creation. Let me go work for someone who's in the sailing business for 5 years, learn and figure out. Like that move, like when people hear me say this, they're like, but Gary, how do I do that? I'm like, why don't you go work for somebody in comedy, in the fashion, like everyone has just decided like I can start a business, and most people are not talented enough in their teens or 20s to build a viable business just yet.
Yeah.
The thing
is miserable.
Well, yeah, this. Most people, this was a real wake-up call for me when entrepreneurship got cool in like the mid-2010s, like 2010, 11, 12, 13. Everyone started running towards it. And I had always been there. I didn't realize how hard it was for people that weren't natural born. But then it made sense to me because I was a really poor student. And like, I just think some people know how to do school. I wasn't one of those people. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be hard for these people. Because, it's because unlike school, like I never did homework and failed every test, and the system pushed me through. My school system didn't want people to stay back. They were going for a blue ribbon. They just pushed me through. I literally sit here today, no fucking bullshit. In my 4 years of high school, I never opened a book, never did homework, never studied for a test, never did a book report, never did a project, and they just pushed me through.
Yeah. Which I'm not sure that's good or bad,
in
actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably neither, but in business, entrepreneurship, the land of business merit, there's no pushing through. Like if I did that same thing in business, I'd be out of business very quickly and back at a job. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I saw this stat today, actually. It was on Twitter. And it was, because you always talk about how hard it is.
Yeah.
And so there was this tweet today that was like, read this if you're not as rich as you want. And it was the odds of making it, that in the US, 1 in 1,000 make over $1 million in a year. 1 in 11,000 over 10 million, 1 in 35,000 over 20 million. And so the truth is, if you want to make it, you need to be an absolute freak of nature, basically. You have to have outlier behavior. And I was curious what you think and how hard it actually is, because you're oftentimes telling all of us it's going to be harder than you think.
I'm 49. When the number went from, when I was a kid, the number was if I could make 100,000 a year. I grew up in lower middle class kind of like vibes, more lower middle class. 100K seemed I mean, I myself, with, I'm 15 years old, I'm gonna buy the Jets one day, but there was another part of my brain that was like, man, the only time I was pumped professionally, financially, was when I broke the 100,000 barrier in a year. No other time. When that number for the masses became 1 million versus 100,000, shit got ugly. Do you know how fucking hard it is to make $1 million a year? Like really, actually. And the problem for someone like you and I, if we've gotten there and we spend all our time around people that have gotten there, it doesn't feel rare. One of the great things that has always happened in my career is because of where I grew up, I always thought about the other So one of the first offices I opened for VaynerMedia was Chattanooga, Tennessee. Not LA, not San Francisco, not Tokyo, not London. And one of the reasons I did that was I always wanted to be grounded to everything. Up, down, left, right. When you go to Chattanooga, Tennessee, if you make $1 million a year, you're fucking on a pedestal. And by the way, Chattanooga has a wealthy area, old Coke money. There's some great entrepreneurs there.
And it's nice.
Yeah, it is
clean.
Nice. I like Chattanooga. But look, I think that it's incredibly hard, and I don't know why people think it's easy. And I do know why I think people think it's easy. In the 80s, there was Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous. In the 90s, there was My Crib, the Crib show on MTV Cribs. Now 24/7, people are looking at propaganda in their feeds of watches and vacations. And I say, because I keep hearing everyone wanting to blame Instagram and wanting to blame social media. I say, stop consuming it. You know, like, if you're motivated by it, great. I don't believe that most people are motivated by it. I think most people get jealous and envious, get insecure, and so, yeah, I think it's super hard because, again, over-coddling parenthood in the last 40 years, school is bullshit system, government's bullshit system. Most systems are bullshit. The only two systems that aren't, like, the most not bullshit system in the world is sports. When little Ricky goes on the field and he's 9, if he sucks at basketball or soccer, like, it's exposed, no matter how much daddy and mommy want to make up some excuses or, right?
Used to be.
Yeah, I mean, parents are really getting their hands in shit, but still, they'll go and fight a teacher. Like, parents in the 80s didn't, when you got a C, your mom and dad didn't go to school and fight a teacher and try to get a B. They do that now. But even though I'm in this circles, I have a 16 now, and 12-year-old, like, growing up in this last 7 to 10 years, parents want to go on the field and kick the ball for their kid. People want to go do something, but they can't. And then thus the kid gets exposed. Sports is the most merit. The next closest is business. The reason I say it's not the same is, you know this, people are like, I'm a 3-time exiting founder. I'm like, you raised $10 million and sold it for $200,000.
Exactly.
You're a fucking loser. You're not,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people can bullshit a little bit in business. There's, there is but it's 80% to sports. And I guess in hindsight, I was attracted to merit my whole life because those are my two passions.
I love a game where you know who wins and loses because it
Me
tells you if you're
too.
good or not.
That's right.
So do you think, like, when you see that stuff online, I'm not a big showy person, don't get me wrong, and I like nice shit. Like,
Yeah, you're allowed. By the way, everyone's allowed.
Totally. But I think it's almost an immediate red flag when I see somebody showing the Gucci, Fendi, Prada, the fast cars, and the private planes. I immediately go, I don't know. If you really had that, you got to flex it. What do you think? Like, if you're talking to a young person, you're saying, don't fucking follow people that do that.
Yeah, listen, I've taken some lumps from a lot of contemporaries who get mad that I talk about this because so many of them are in it. Look, I think that first of all, it's so funny where my chemicals just went. One of the great things, and it's funny because I pontificate and share and ponder online 24/7. First of all, just to set the ground rules, I do not have the audacity to think that I'm right about anything, let alone everything. For me, I'm in your camp a little bit, but it's because I think a lot of people do that to funnel people into them, to monetize them. So I think about that a lot. And again, I think it's doing real damage like, when I post every morning, every evening, I genuinely post deeply from the lens of, why would someone give a fuck about this post? Why is this good for them? And I do believe a lot of people on the other side of this podcast are not growing because almost every post is about what's in it for me. I want people to buy my course, my book, my collectible, and so I believe that the flashy stuff is inherently selfish, not selfless. And so, but look, I mean, people are allowed, people are allowed to share. Like, I get it. Again, a lot of people grew up insecure and wanted these things, and they're proud and they want to share it. My big thing is that people that have over-indexed on that move, I have found over the last 20 years, tend to struggle to stay on top, tend to be less happy. So it's not only that the audience that's consuming the Lambo or the watch that I'm worried about, but I'm even worried about the person that's sharing it. I'm worried that they won't be able to sustain it.
It's a great, great move. I want to talk to you a little bit about building big companies. You've built a ton. And so with your current knowledge today, I'm curious, like, let's say you had to go back to your wine days, almost. Let's say you owned a laundromat, because I'm into those things.
Yes.
So let's say you owned one laundromat and you had to start your entire empire from one laundromat today. Like, what would you do? What would be the playbook?
Content. Yeah, because, you and I are part of a breed that admires a single laundromat owner. And I think you have really done a good job of tapping into something that I think is black and white, which, you know, we talked about the last time we hung, like this whole, whether you call it micro P or just practical business, obviously Main Street is the way you think about it. I think there's a huge opportunity for a lot of those people to build a brand. In fact, that's what I did. I built my brand. I am that person. I didn't even own the business. It was my dad's business. I was the person who built it. But my original content as Gary Vee, after 5 years or during the 5 years of doing the wine show, my original first ever thoughts about business and life and perspectives were literally out of a liquor store, one store, and I built my brand. I could have easily, if that's what I wanted, opened up 10 more stores, did micro M&A, and I would have built a very substantial franchise or independently owned multi-unit business, which would be worth a lot of money. And in today's environment would be a very attractive PE acquisition, as every small business is going to get consolidated, it feels like these days. So I really, the number one thing I would do is get into content for two reasons. One, if you're capable, building your personal brand, I do believe is a moat. I've always believed that it was the moat. I've talked about it for 15 years that it's the moat. It is the one true asset that doesn't get commoditized, even in an AI world. You still have your IP, it's your copyright, it's you. Two, if you learn to be a content creator, the other thing that worked with me, and this was hand in hand, and this is what I want for this person, is you start getting good at running ads and doing content for your business too. So in my brain, what I'm dreaming up right now is Sally's building up her. She's like, I did this. This is how I bootstrapped it, or how I inherited it, or whatever's real. Here's what I'm doing. Here's my day-to-day troubles. Here's how I think about it. Oh my God, coins, when people stopped having change on them, we had to put in these, swipe your credit card or just like the battle stories of that business. But also what she will learn in the story that I'm telling is she'll learn what really and by the way, I know a lot of small businesses listen, so let me give it to you very straight. Disproportionately, the biggest opportunity to grow your business, traffic to your business, average receipt size, is to run, if you're a local business that people come to, is to run 10-mile radius Facebook ads. And so Sally, in this journey of building up Sally, the laundromat entrepreneur, would also start to learn how to be good at these things, which she would then be able to use to run ads to her business, which is advertising matters. It's always mattered, and it will always matter. And so content.
You know what's so interesting too? In your story, I remember looking back at those old videos of you in your wine business, and today everybody wants to have a set, right? We're on a borrowed set. This one isn't mine, but they want to have this fancy set. But you know what the sickest set is today? You're actually a laundromat.
I think so.
Because it's show, don't tell. It's like, no, I own this. I'm not, there's no fluorescent lights here. Watch me do this. You don't think I own it? Look, I'm right here.
I believe the best studio in the world is the world. I tell my clients, which are mainly Fortune 500 companies, I'm like, look, let's make content at stores, in parking lots, at festivals. I genuinely believe that. I've always believed that. I was honestly the Pied Piper in 2009, 10, 11, 12 of no production value. Wine Library TV didn't even have a mic. No lighting, no mic. Literally whatever the camera picked up. And so, yeah, I agree with you. I think that store is studio is a big idea.
It's a good framework.
Yeah, I think so. Store as studio is something that I've really championed more privately than publicly, so I'm glad we're getting to pontificate about this. And I think that's right.
Yeah, and it means you don't have to have a bunch of money, because I'm all about the great equalizer. Like yesterday, my husband and I were kind of laughing in New York, because New York's such an equalizer city in some ways,
in the
which
best
is like,
way.
Yeah, so I could drive like a fancy black car, which sometimes I do, and guess what? If you hoof it, or if you subway it, you're faster than me. And so that's a cool equalizer that doesn't exist in a lot of other places. And so I think this is a good example for content. Like the best performing ads for a lot of our businesses are exactly what you said. It's 100%. Like, it's a window cleaner cleaning a window and then it reveals a price. Like that's it. There's no production. And so
production often, again, is disguising insecurity. A lot of people talk about production. If you listen carefully, it's just an excuse to not do. Anyone who says, I can't afford it, is full of shit. It's called an iPhone. You all have one. The end. Nothing else. Zero. I did it for fucking half a decade. A $239 camera from Best Buy was the only thing I used. Nothing else. Nothing.
Such a good point. You know, another thing that I really like about you is you kind of said it earlier. You're like, I've taken some punches on the internet. And you had this tweet that I was coming back on, which is, first they'll call you stupid, then they'll call you lucky. Remember, just make sure that you're always executing and they are spending their time calling you things. And I loved that line. How do you deal with haters?
Easily. With compassion, with empathy. You know, I couldn't comprehend living a life where I spend time trying to tear someone down.
Ever? You weren't ever like
Even
that?
I was just about to say, you know, we're starting to get to know each other. I think it's one thing in these settings. I think the thing you would find interesting, and this is going to make sense to you because I'm assuming circles and things you've run in as you've built your career. The thing that blew me away growing up in the game was that A players in private settings would spend a lot of time shitting on other A players. It blew my mind. I remember it was happening to me when Scooter Braun, Maverick Carter, some of these people in business were starting to do really well. And I'd be at these things. I knew both of them well, so it's probably why it triggered for me. When people would be jealous or envious and they themselves, sometimes more successful. I was like, this is weird. This is interesting. Let me take note of this. Oh, insecurity. Oh, like, you know, wow, they don't realize that the world is like, I was fascinated. And I understand it because the one place I'm not me is sports fandom. And my level of envy and jealousy of Michael Jordan and Tom Brady and Bulls fans in that era and Patriot fans is like anger, like almost like the most extreme Republican or Democrat feeling about the other side. So I can tap into the emotion that is jealousy and envy. And, you know, because I don't feel in control as a fan. But as a real life human, I feel fully in control. And I couldn't comprehend the idea of deploying jealousy or envy against someone else. So how do I deal with haters? Compassion. I mean, they're just not in a good place. Like, there's no other way to say it. Like, could you comprehend spending your time tearing down? And so many people do it. And you're like, I just couldn't, why would I deploy that energy? You know, if I believe something stinks or someone stinks, my immediate reaction is to just walk away in perpetuity. I want to save my energy and time. I got shit to do. I'm trying to win out here. I remember that tweet. I remember that era when I was thinking about it. I always wanted to be an athlete, but it wasn't in the cards. Being a publicly known businessman with, you know, opinions left, right, up, down, I'm like, oh shit, I got to taste it. Like, you know, everyone, it's like, you know, it's like hot takes, you know? And so, and I think about it being an athlete, which is, if you're an athlete, you know, just got done with this great Knicks playoff run, but it ended, unfortunately, just a hair too short. But when you're on the court and they're booing you, if you actually take that in, it's very hard to perform. If you take it in and you get excited, that's how I take it. Like, it's, the way I deal with it is 90% indifference and compassion. Like, I'm like, who gives a fuck, comma, man, just wish Ricky Pants 49 lived a life where he didn't have to like be mad at me because I know I'm triggering insecurities for him. And 10% of like, gangster, I'm gonna slice your throat. Like, all right, motherfucker, keep talking. Like, oh, really? Like, you think I've made it now? Let me build Disney in front of your face with V-Friends and you're really gonna fucking be angry at 80. So there's a little bit of that. But only 10%, which is I'm like very grateful for, maybe 20%.
Depends on the day.
I like being competitive. I enjoy being competitive. In fact, one of my great angers in the world is 8th place trophies. One of my great angers in the world is when two passive parents get lucky enough to birth a competitive kid, probably took after grandma, and then they tell that kid, like, this game that they're crying about doesn't matter. It only matters. Winning and losing is incredibly imperative to the human race. Nothing is good out of balance. Of course, when people are like, Gary, winning and losing, like, is it okay to like hurt people to win? No, it's not okay. But is it okay to completely eliminate merit and competitiveness and winning and losing. No. That leads to, let me say it slow, suicide. This is what people don't understand. When you start to not care about anything, you get into a very dark place. Teaching a young kid nothing matters is a dangerous game. Or sports don't matter, but getting A's matter. You start teaching them fake shit.
Yeah, I think also going back and realizing that nihilism is real. And, some of the greats have talked about the fact that the most horrible thing you can do to an individual is to take away passion in some way, shape, or form.
It's black and white to me.
Yeah.
It's, as someone who's like fueled by it, I can, like we're animals. Like I can smell it when someone has it, and I can smell it, only two versions I can smell. I can't smell the middle.
Interesting.
But with passion, I can smell the two opposites. I can smell when someone's got it.
Yeah.
Which is why I've associated, invested, and been around a lot of people who went on to become enormous. And I can smell when someone doesn't have it at all, which is why I fucking wake up every morning putting out content to get them out of their darkness.
So we've told them that content matters.
Yes.
We've told them that if you're running a small business, you should think about building up your brand. We've talked a little bit about IP, like all of this talks about content. But one of the biggest questions I get asked by business owners in our portfolio is, how do you find great talent? How do you find the person to help you with social media?
By realizing you need to be the person that first understands it a little bit. How do you judge something you don't know? If I went into a surgery right now, heart surgery, and I needed to judge what's going on, we have a problem. It's called I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Everybody who's listening, when you own a business, it is hard. When you own a business, you have to be adaptable. When you own a business, you have to deal with the shit. I know that you don't like it. You may even have an ideological disagreement with social media. You must be the person that learns it a little bit so that you can judge the talent. It's not about finding the talent. It's that everybody gave the job to their 20-year-old niece because they thought like, oh, you're a kid, you get it. The problem is the 20-year-old niece and nephew use social media to fucking hook up, not to build a big business.
Yep.
So, my answer, and I talk to a lot of these businesses as well, is you have to spend 50 to 100 hours educating yourself and then doing. You can't read about push-ups to get the results. You have to read and watch videos and listen. I even made it easier for you. GaryVee.com/attention. I literally took my last book, which is $20 fucking. I'm like, you can't afford $20? How about this? A 44-page free deck to tell you exactly what to do.
Good. But I recommend the book.
Thank you.
I gave day trading attention to all of my social team.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, again, you said thank you, but I said no, thank you,
No, I
because
get
it's
it.
actually super.
It's why I believe in books. I'm like, I cannot believe I charge hundreds of thousands of dollars to clients for, consulting, and this $20 fucking book is like pretty much there.
Yeah, 100. Well, and to be fair, why wouldn't I steal your 27 years doing this?
And more importantly, my actual living the thesis of the book. It's not my only 30 years of working. It's my last 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, that was different.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what's so interesting about the books I write. I don't write evergreen books. Day trading attention is just the follow-up to jab, 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 right hook.
Yeah, you're right.
It's just 10 years later because shit changed. All I want to do, I'm incredibly obsessed with the contemporary. I want to be obsessed with the history to understand the contemporary, and then I just want to be of today.
Yeah, there was this great line, actually, when I was coming up with a bio on you that I was reading to Kate that is, I think, perfect for you. And it was about the fact that you are pathologically practical about where eyeballs were moving. Like, that is so true. You're pathological. Like, you are obsessed. And I think that's what it takes to win. I guess I want to close out with two questions here.
Please.
One of them is, you've mastered these underpriced attention platforms at varying times. You talk about it in all of your books. At any given time, there's an underpriced platform. So let's give the people the non-evergreen. What is that today? Where is the underpriced attention today?
Live social shopping. If you sell anything, and this is huge for your crew, if you sell anything, that's not a physical thing, not a service. VaynerMedia doesn't do this. I can't do this with VaynerMedia. We don't sell a physical thing. If you sell a physical thing, which a lot of you do, Every one of you has to learn everything you can about TikTok Shop and whatnot. WHATNOT. Those are the 2 leaders right now. I expect Meta, Google, Twitter, everybody to get into this game. Live social shopping is the underpriced attention. There are a ton of creators right now who will never get millions of followers and make millions of dollars. But if they switch to being someone that sells something on social instead of making lifestyle content, they will make millions of dollars.
So smart.
I forced Mike to do a garage sale. Mike did a garage sale on Whatnot this Saturday and made $700. Yeah. Now I know you sold some trading cards and stuff like that, but you also, because I heard you were going to do just trading cards. I'm like, no. I need you to like sell some random shit in the house. Give me one example of something that was literally sitting collecting dust in your apartment and you sold for how much?
A box of Legos.
Right.
Do we include shipping and handling?
Yeah, you charge I love this.
Perfect.
Every time I do garage sales and everything, everyone's like, what about the shipping? I'm like, you charge shipping. What about the eBay fee? I'm like, everything has a cost. Like, people love an excuse, right? People look for the why not.
Yep.
I literally think garage sales and flea markets are going to happen in live social shopping. It's not just someone who starts a beauty brand
Or like those storage units. Kate, we're doing your
Crush.
storage unit. She has one here that she's had for 2 years.
Right. She's paying monthly
She's
fee.
paying $25 a month.
Yep.
We should just do it live on YouTube.
Not YouTube, because they don't have that yet.
Well, so I want to turn it into a YouTube video, but do it live on Whatnot or
Right.
TikTok
You can
Shop.
make a YouTube video because that's great because that's content. But live, the QVCification of social media is here.
Yeah.
Listen to these stats. 30%. This is a stat. I'm always a little weird with stats, but this is real. China is fully here. China's got obviously one of the biggest economies in the world. Live social shopping in China now, by the most conservative estimates, represents 30% of all e-commerce in China.
Get the fuck out.
A $500 billion economy of live shopping in China that is bigger than almost every nation's economy. In the US, I just had the CEO of QVC. He put out this stat that I'm going to try to validate this week, but it feels right-ish. He's like, we're already at 6% on live shopping in the US, and no one's even seeing it yet.
What's that? Do we know what that is compared to what QVC used to be? Because it was like a lot, then nothing, then now growing.
QVC has always been a ton,
Okay.
and it's not a lot.
Yeah.
It was still doing an ungodly amount of business. There's something about the behavior. You're almost like paying for the entertainment. You're like tipping the host. You're like part of the community. I have this concept called commerce-tainment. So ready? How about this? You're a hairdresser right now listening, and you sell shampoos and other shit, soaps and all the fucking shit in your place, right? You can go live on Whatnot right now. At the bottom of the screen is like this $12 shampoo, and you could just buy it while you're teaching people how to use the shampoo on a customer. This is real. Tea with Gary Vee, which I really did really well during COVID. I've brought back. I love doing Q&A. On Tea with Gary Vee, I now do it on Whatnot, not on Instagram Live. I do it on all my socials, but I drive to Whatnot. I drink out of a VeeFriends mug, and the mug is pinned at the bottom of the screen. And while I'm doing the show, people are buying the mug.
Get out.
Commerce-tainment. I'm not even selling in that format.
It's just subliminal right there.
Yeah, or I'll
continuously.
make a reference of like, hey, you like my mug? You get like it's a mini commercial. It's not even a commercial.
Interesting.
So
and you just like experimenting. Like that's part of your thing. You just never stop experimenting.
yes, after it's been validated.
Okay.
I have $1 trillion stuff sells in China. Now we have those functionalities. It's going to happen here. It's happening here. TikTok Shop is insane. You, for your portfolio, must deeply understand TikTok Shop. So live social shopping is one of them.
Okay.
Within social, I'm a big fan for people that are obsessed with TikTok and Snapchat Spotlight. So Snapchat Spotlight is much smaller, but it's their TikTok, right? It's in their UI, and there's a fuckload of 15 to 30-year-olds in it. But here's the good part, supply and demand of attention. Like I talked about in day trading, there's a lot of kids on it. They spend a lot less time on it than they do on TikTok. when I say kids, I say 15 to 30. So if you sell to 15 to 30, but the supply's low. Nobody's posting on there. So I'm very hot on Snapchat Spotlight. Substack, I think, is really, really interesting. I'm about to delve in. IRL streaming, so Twitch.
You got to check out Beehive. I'm an investor in it, so
I know
obviously
Beehive.
very biased.
I will absolutely do
But
that.
those guys, and they're here. I've never met faster builders. We invest in a lot of companies, and shout out Tyler Denk. He's an absolute psychopath. He's like what you talked about.
Speed.
Dude,
It's like
I think
sports.
he's going to eat Snapchat's, Substack's lunch.
I love
but
it.
We'll
Good for
see.
them. Yeah. Look, and it's not even, you know this, you're too smart for this. I don't think Beehive's going to eat Substack's lunch. I think it's an and, not an or.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's it's too big of a addressable market.
Yeah, very
it's
true.
Uber Lyft.
That's true.
Like when I was like, oh, Lyft, because I was an early investor in Uber, I was like, oh fuck, Lyft's going to do well. Yeah. But I wasn't
And
like,
you want multiple to do well.
yeah, I mean, look, like when you're on it, like I don't want the Patriots, Bills, and Dolphins to do well. Like I don't mind competition. I just know it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you have a few, then you grow the market share entirely,
Yeah,
which
but,
usually
but
you
both
want.
of those companies are going into a trend that's happened.
Yeah.
Like Medium I was an investor in Medium, which was Eb Williams, you know, who's an iconic entrepreneur, co-founder of Twitter, and before that Odeo, and Blogger before that, and one of the first, you know, blogging platforms, like subscription, Patreon, OnlyFans, like, and then the social sites are going to start. You can already see some of the moves they're doing, like, fuck all these other places. We've got all the audience. We're going to monetize. So there's a lot to it, but these are things I'm looking at every day.
Let's end on AI.
AI.
So, what are your craziest predictions when it comes to AI?
Well, I've gone pretty viral lately because my craziest prediction is that most people's grandchildren will marry an AI robot.
Fuck my life.
Some of them will. Not everyone's going to, but I think this is the biggest thing we've seen since the internet. It's that big. When the internet came along, my thesis when I was a kid was, oh, this is like I bet my life on it. And the bet was, this is the biggest transformation ever. And like everybody will be on the internet. And when I tell you, when I said that in 95, 6 or 7, people laughed. When people are like, when they talk about AI, I don't think they realize it's oxygen. Like when I get excited about the blockchain, NFTs, Bitcoin, that is a big deal. When I get excited about social media, that was a very big deal. Email, Google search, these are big deals. This is a level above. This is internet and AI. Meaning I view AI as almost boring to talk about because is it fun to talk about the internet as a foundation? Like, no, we talk about the things on top of it. To me, AI is now like omnipresent. It's a reality of life. And there's a real decade of recalibration, reckoning, disruption, opportunity. I'm baffled at anyone who's not spending an hour a day learning about AI and using AI. I couldn't imagine. And I spend a lot of time prompt engineering, you know, just if you don't know what that means, Google it or AI it. And that's what's so funny. Like even Googling it, I noticed I said to somebody the other day, I'm like, AI it. Like go Gemini it, go Perplexity, go Gronk it, go OpenAI, you know, ChatGPT it. Like, it's huge. And it's like the wildest predictions are the Internet of Things, it thinking for you, it ordering, like I think all of shopping will be done by agents for you based on your behaviors. Like it will know better that you wanted that outfit than you knew.
Facebook already knows me better than my husband with my shopping
Well,
preferences.
most things know things better than husbands know. But we're a bunch of idiots. I think that it is very clear to me that we are going into a transformative half century where AI will be like the piping of this reality. Piping, railroads, infrastructure, oxygen, whatever you want to call it. This is the biggest thing that's happened in a long time.
Let's give people a couple things to do on that. Somebody's listening, they're like, all right, fuck it. Gary told me to do AI. What does do AI daily in order to get better at it look like?
Inside of Twitter X, using Gronk, Perplexity, or Google Gemini, or probably the one that ChatGPT is so strong and so easy and common for people. Download it and use it every day. Like, and then use it to, here's how I use AI. Hey, AI, like, hey, this is what I do actually almost every week. what are the 5 AI apps that popped in the last week that I should pay attention to? AI is answering that question for me so that I can go look at those apps and understand what's happening. Also, real quick, because I know a lot of smart investors listening here, be very careful in investing in AI. The reason I haven't yet is every week you think you just invested in the best X, and a week later somebody crushes that. The speed, you want to talk about speed? The speed in which like these apps are getting updated and better is profound.
It is the first time that I am annoyingly an evangelist for tech that is not something I've invested in or own. Like I won't shut up about. I'm like whisper flow. Fuck the keyboard. The keyboard's gone. You just
gone.
yeah, you just voice text and it's perfect from now on. I mean that's wild.
What about the fact that nobody has to learn a language anymore? Everyone's gonna have ear pods that like you're gonna talk to somebody, they're gonna be speaking Spanish and you'll hear it as English, and you're gonna speak English and they'll hear it as Spanish and Portuguese and Korean. Like there's profound things coming. But the wildest one is we're gonna fall in love with these, AIs, and then we're gonna put that in love AI into robot bodies, and those robot bodies are gonna go from looking like RoboCop to looking like, Megan Fox.
Sydney Sweeney.
And, that Megan Fox movie is a preview. Yeah.
Does that make you sad?
No, it doesn't.
Happy?
No. It makes me understand that this is how it's always been. Like cavemen were different than you and I were. Supposedly we were apes, right? So like, does it make our apes mad that we like shit changes? Like I'm not like, people are always like, Gary, that's gross. Or like, you need Jesus. Or I'm like, look, I'm not advocating for it.
Yeah, you're just predicting.
Like, in fact, I'm like advocating for simplicity. I think I'm sad for people that wear gold chains and fucking like take pictures in private planes. So like, I love when people are like, this is sad. I'm like, you're sad. Like this is what's brewing. This is what could happen. You're asking for a prediction. I'm guessing, but it fucking feels like it's coming.
I think you're right. I do think it's a little sad, but that is every generation.
But by the way,
like,
I go back to this. We're in charge. Like if you think it's sad as a human one day, like you can parent and grandparent your kid into like understanding the value of a human versus a robot. Right? The problem is that we have to get more comfortable with being uncomfortable. The reason the robots are trending, in my opinion, long term, is we want everything perfect.
it's exactly why.
Yeah. But by the way, are we robots? Like, let me explain. Ozempic, vanity, hair extensions, boob jobs, fucking testosterone, HGH, makeup, people can argue we're sad. We become very, very, very visual. Like 40, 50-year-old men and women, like you and I, 2 generations ago, do not look like the way we look. And those people can say we're sad. Why do we have to alter ourselves? What's plastic surgery? What's Botox?
Gary's gonna be like this in 10 years, maybe.
I'm probably not, but I don't judge people that are. I just judge when they say something sad when they're doing the sad thing. I remember in the 80s when I was a kid, but I remember when everybody frowned on someone who had a boob job.
And now they're everywhere.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
And so like, I don't know, is lip filler like sad to a woman from 1949? It sure is. They think you're fucking sad.
Zoom out, huh?
So just because you think a robot's sad, like it's just gonna keep doing shit. And I get what people are gonna say in the comments, like, yeah, but that's still a human being. I'm like, okay, like I don't know, like, okay.
I hired an AI specialist who's so amazing. You walk into my office. The first time I meet the guy in person, because we were interviewing him on a project basis. Anyway, he's sitting in the front area of my office. He's got a hoodie on. He's got those, what are those things called?
VR glasses.
VR glasses. And he's just fucking maestroing in front. And I'm, taking a little video because it's funny. His name's Chadwick. He's brilliant. And his entire job is to see where AI can play in our companies. But I started talking to him about this idea, and he pushed me really hard on our humans, robots. He goes, should they be able to vote? Immediate reaction, fuck no, they shouldn't be able to vote. He goes, okay, what about a human with a fake leg? What about a human with 2 robotic legs? What about a human with a transplant in their head. Where does it become a human instead of a robot? And I was like, woof.
Yeah, and by the way, it might not even be right. Like meaning like it could be the end of the human race. And I'm like, okay. Like do you think I want that? But my intuition is that my grandkids will be gone by the time that happens. And like, you don't get to control the future. Like, what is this audacious? This is where the whole politics thing has gotten me crazy. Like, we've gotten to this era where people have the audacity to think the world should be how they see it. I have passionate points of view. We just spent fucking an hour on it. I don't think I'm right, and I don't think it should be the way I see it. Like, and most of all, you can't stop it. Right. You know, technology is undefeated. By the way, as I sign off, electricity demonized when it came out. Actually, the word demonized. When electricity was invented, people did not put it in their home and still chose lanterns and candles because the word on the street was electricity had demons in it. We're scared of new shit.
Gary V, you're the man. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
You guys, this was wild. I was just looking, and it looks like more than 50% of you are not subscribed to the Bigdeal podcast. When you subscribe, first of all, it means we get to bring you bigger and better guests. It's also the #1 way you can support this podcast. If you liked it today, subscribe on whatever channel that you're listening to. And I want to tell you something firsthand. You become whatever you allow into your attention span. And what I hope you feel from us every single day is that I value your attention and your time more than anything else. I promise to only bring you things that are going to make you more money. They're going to make you more motivated to make your life better. So give me a little solid here. Subscribe to the channel. This is how we grow. Also leave me a review on what you want better and who you want on. I promise you will do it. Hey, if you're a business owner right now and you like the things you were hearing on this podcast, I have something that I haven't talked about publicly before that's just for you. It's called our SMB Boardroom. This is for small business owners who want to grow. It is for business owners who are on their way to making at least 7 figures a year. If this is you, hit the link down below. Talk to our team. This is the place that can be your late night emergency call for the things that go bump in the night in your business. If right now you feel like you're plateauing or you feel like you don't know how to handle your growth, we got you. So click the link below, SMB Boardroom. We just built it for you builders. Kind of obsessed with it. And I think if you are a builder, there's no place you're going to want to be except here. Hey guys, if you've ever thought about buying a business, we've built what I think is the best acquisitions and business buying community and education curriculum in the world. If you've ever thought about wanting to buy or own a business, or if you want to add more businesses to the mix, it's called the Contrarian Community. And what this is the goal is we give you the 3 things that the best business buyers use: your own advisory team, your own investment committee, and a deal team. We get together each week to review deals live and beat up all the deals that you're currently looking at while you simultaneously learn the best way possible, which is called modeling, by seeing other people put together deals. This is how private equity buys businesses. This is how investment teams work. And we're stealing the methods from Wall Street and giving them to you. If this is interesting to you, go to click the link and you can actually talk to my team direct about if this is a fit or not. We can help guide you. The link is in the show description.